Okay.
but I need to because I'm like I pay too much. All right, so we're live now. Now I gotta go live on the gram. I wish there was a way you can just go live across all stuff. That would be cool. You gotta
I
go
ain't gonna lie.
potty and this your time to do it.
Oh, I'm about to go do it then.
Yeah. What up though, y'all? We gonna be live in a couple minutes. Ponce had to take a bathroom break. And then I had to get all this live stuff together. But thank y'all for joining in. What up though? What up though? Friday. Eviction laws and squatter rights. That's the topic today, y'all.
Okay.
That
What's
was
the topic
quick.
today?
That was
I'm a
quick.
guy. Hey, I'm a guy.
Well, I seen this meme and it was talking about like how back in the day, this is how we stayed in the bathroom. Like you be reading shit on the bottle. But you have like not your phone. I bust out loud. I was like, this is a fact. You just be reading everything like, damn, that's what's in here. All right, so the topic today is evictions, bad tenant squatters, and new eviction laws. If there are any new eviction laws, I know with a lot of these what is it called? Mandatorials, whatever that word is.
Yeah, the moratorium. I think it is. Yeah,
I was so
that
wrong,
thing.
but you know what I meant. But
That
yeah,
thing.
they I know a lot of stuff is changing with that
Yeah.
eviction.
Okay. So, well, but some of that stuff is still being, even though the pandemic, so called, is waning, there's still a glut of landlord tenant issues, specifically in all district courts, or for those that are watching, is different. A district court is the lowest level of a city court. Particularly, we're talking about Detroit, but even in the other district courts around the area, the metro area, there's still a glutton of landlord tenant cases as a result of what we went through pandemic. And then
Mm.
also as a result of the Sarah funding, or we're funding the ARPA funds, or the funds that came from the government to try to stabilize tenants that frankly were going through those changes. That stuff is starting to wane. A lot of those funds are now either exhausted or been redirected in other places. But there's been an uptick as far as tenant representation. Recently, the city of the more specifically UCHC, United Housing Coalition, I believe it is, won a
Mm-hmm.
contract to represent unrepresented tenants. And what we found there is that even if the result is the same, the rights of the tenants and the rights of the landowners, it tends to be more of a smooth transition, because when you're representing yourself, no matter what, people get afraid. This is real. You have children, even if they ain't paying the rent, there's still a more of a deliberate process where you can. I know that that there's a deliberate process in order to get possession of your property. I know. That's how you look. So let me flip it on the other side though. Now, because I also represent as well landlords. I also tell landlords sometimes there's some very you call it what you want, but these tenants know what's going on. And Michigan is a tenant
And then the
friendly state.
professional tenants. That's what I call
Oh
them,
yeah.
professional
Yeah,
tenants.
and this is a tenant-friendly state, and especially if you're collectible, you don't want to find yourself with a tenant like, well, let's rock, and knowing that that you can do some things called constructive eviction, or anything that violates the landlord-tenant laws. Because one, what that does is, even if they don't prevail, they just bought more time, and for those that are landlords, that equals your pockets, frankly. And then
Mm.
number two, it continues to starts to complicate the process. So in summary, Michigan still is moving forward. The city of Detroit, there's some help for tenants who are unrepresented. Some of the funding that was available during COVID is either being redirected or coming to an end, and those cases are starting. That whole glut is starting, at least in residential, is starting to. It's moving right along. There are about 7 judges now on the landlord tenant docket at 36 District Court, which is Detroit's district court for those of you that don't stay around here. And they're moving that docket right along. They're moving the docket along for not only termination of tenancy. What that means is I just want my place back. I don't want no money from you. I just need my place back, which can be a good business decision. And then also the other ones where there's non-payment of rent, where you get a judgment, but now you got to figure out how to collect it. So you know how that goes.
Oh, I get that. I take them taxes.
Of course, so I tell folks sometimes as I manage our potential clients' expectations, I say to them, I said, getting the judgment is one thing. Now we got to get it, right? That's another process altogether. So,
yeah. So,
that's another.
my first tenant I had to evict some years ago on my first, the flip I did, like with the, what's it called? Turnkey flip. Before I flipped it, I had to evict her. But it was my fault. Like, that's why I'm so cutthroat now. Like, I don't care if it's Big Mom, Papa, 100th wedding anniversary. You getting put out. Like, I don't care what's going on. So she actually put my name down for a referral for a property. Like, I think it was in Livonia or something when they called me. I bust out laughing. I was like, what? Why would you put me down of all people when I evicted you and your whole family? And so the apartment manager was like, well, she said it was all false. I was like, ma'am, what's your email? Sent it to her, see attached. I was like, you can also call down to 36 District and pull it up or whatever you got to do to purchase the files and stuff. I was like, why would you put me, knowing I evicted you legally out of this property down for reference?
I understand, and of course,
That's just
that doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense sometimes. It doesn't
yeah,
make sense sometimes.
no common sense.
But I tell you, it's getting tough out here. As you said, I mean, not too long ago when we all grew up, the classic Detroit bungalow, 800 square feet, where you can be blindfolded, front door, side door, go in the kitchen, lead
That's
down to the
1,200.
basement, two bed. That's $1,200 now. That's
That's minimum.
$1,200,
I see some
right?
15.
As where it is, and
I
that's
see
not
one
even
on
written.
Plainview. They fully rehabbed it. Plainview, Brightmo. They want 1,500 a month, and I bet you they get it.
Hey, depending on how it's looking, I mean, no less than 1,000, right? No less than 1,000. And then, as you start to look, as I drive around quite a bit instead of on the freeways, the wood frame homes, the ones that are 48209, 40208, 48210, not quite yet Southwest Detroit, but behind
Yeah,
the
on that
casinos
water.
back there. Yeah,
Yep.
those folks down there, literally, I see, it's wood frame. Some folks that have been here forever may go, ugh, but I see what
You
them
talking about
folks
you
are
talking
doing.
about Woodbridge, that part, or
That's
further
right,
down?
right across Grand River from Woodbridge. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
and in
So
Woodbridge,
look,
but right across.
the
They're not
Coney
the wood frame. They're knocking off. They knock off back porches right first, so nobody can get up in your stuff. Then they put a roof, windows, replace the wood on the side, put a wooden porch, and it's like voila.
Yep. Duh. So check this out. I went to Pelham, right? Right in the hood on Martin Luther King 12.
Yep.
So it's a Coney we used to walk to every day off band practice right there on Grand River and Martin Luther King. I just happened to go that way the other day because the freeway's back there. I was like, I can just take Grand River all the way to Farmington. Forget it, scenic route, right? I look over, that Coney looked like, instead of whatever Coney it looked like Coney restaurants. Like, that mug is beautiful. I was like, whoa, they done did a whole little facelift. And I'm like, this ain't the same neighborhood Coney I used to walk to.
Got that
Like
right.
it's crazy was coming over there. And then remember they put them new habitat or whoever built them new houses and apartment buildings right across from Pelham by UD Dental School, like right before you get to 96. Like, oh, that's real nice. And it's been nice maybe like probably last 10 years. And then this white dude, he let us come all up in this house when we did the tour and everything. This was in 2021, I think, or 19. And he was from like Britain, but his wife worked for the land bank, so they were able to buy like a whole bunch of land over there, like 10 plus years ago. They built this stupid $750,000 container home. That mug is cold. And then he built a garage on one of the lots where you press the button and the cars just move over, so he can get what car out. I was like, shut up.
We got hydraulics up in that joint.
Okay, I was like, this is genius. Yeah. Instead of just a 5-car garage, he did like, it looked like just a commercial building, but it's a garage.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Where it actually,
right. Yeah, he can walk right to Motor City, and then now that Ford done did their thing over there, like, oh, that property over there is just ridiculously high. So I wonder, is Pelham gonna still be Pelham or whatever it's called now, or what is that about to be? Because
Understood.
Pelham over there, Cass over there.
And to your point, there's still
Earth.
some type of entry, for folks, whether they live here or not, to possess a home, right? An investment home. It may not appear at times to be where the sexy place is, but there's still a demand for people who want to live there and rent. It's
Yep.
just the way it is. There's still a demand there. What I have noticed is a lot of developments, although it may be, I won't say retro for us, in other major areas, people do live stacked up on, 15 floors and 12 floors, but we're starting to get some of those new developments. We're not even just getting a 4-story, 5-story. We're getting the ones that go all the way to the top.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Did
it's
you
not
see?
doom and gloom.
Did you see in the Crane a couple weeks ago? They talking about passing the law to where there's no rental cap in the city.
Mm-hmm. It's
Now,
nuts.
let me tell y'all
Yeah.
something. If they, and I think it's gonna pass. I think it's gonna pass. I really do. I'm gonna vote for it personally. But
Okay.
if this law passes,
Self-serving.
you black Detroiters who just don't want to buy for whatever reason because the interest rate is too high, what you think gonna be too high with this rent?
It's
Like, what you think about to happen? Because your mortgage payment gonna be nowhere. And then if I could raise my rent every year and I ain't got no ceiling cap, it's gonna be like California eventually.
yeah, and I sometimes say, I ain't counting nobody's pockets, but I say a crust in the corner. Just get a little piece of something,
Get
because
something, especially when
if you
our
find
houses.
yourself,
Go ahead, Posse. My bad.
no, they're good. It's just it's not, again, like doom and gloom, but it this we've been around long enough to see this cycle. We've been
Mm-hmm.
around long enough. We understand what the impact is. And frankly, we also understand that there's still something you can accept, that you have access to. You just kind of sit your tail down and grab it and get the lot next to you and just make that a place where you always can, have somewhere to rest your head. Start, so that's what's going on there. And then also, I can say from what I've read, the Wayne County Treasurer has been more than leaning forward and trying to inform the public on not to lose their homes due to non-payment of rent. There are a plethora of programs. There have been
Mm-hmm.
informing programs that have already been on the books. There are lawyers and people and advocates that in some cases are going door to door educating folks about these programs. They don't want the house, they want the revenue, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, uh, that's what we see. That's what we see.
So I'm us. We gotta back up because we just started talking like we on the phone
We sure
and
did.
we didn't introduce ourselves. So what up though,
Okay.
y'all? I'm Asia Denson, owner of Denson Construction Service Detroit Property Shop. Born and raised real Detroiter. DPS representative. Like I'm a proud DPS baby.
Mhm,
That's Detroit Public Schools for those that don't know. This is like the third year going into the show, I think. So if you
mhm.
have any questions, comments, or concerns that's longer than the sentence, hit the donation. The Cash App is scrolling across the screen, or for y'all on Instagram, you can always buy a badge. Church announcements. I don't have any. I do think I'm gonna do the speed date working event again, probably once the weather
That was
break.
sweet. I enjoyed
That
that.
that
Yeah.
was dope. And I got some people want me to do it in Philly. Flip funding. I'm real cool with the owner of that. Ryan, he asked me about doing it in Philly. So I was like, yeah, I'll come out there. So I think that'd be dope. So Ponce, introduce
Hey,
yourself.
thanks a lot. Well, thanks for being here. Ponce Clay is the name, and amongst other things, I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. I'm a licensed attorney in the state of Michigan. A general civil practice, however, a lot of my practice as of late has been probate dispositions, i.e., properties that, for whatever reason, that come up in probate estates, and taking care of that. Landlord tenant, representing the landlord and the tenant, or not and at the same time, or the tenant. Also,
Mhm.
some quiet title actions, if you want to know what that is. And then contract review for folks such as property managers or just basic leases and things like this. That's where I found myself. I have done other things, but that's where I do a lot of my business, and that's what's appropriate here. I'm also a licensed real estate broker in the state of Michigan through Clay Realty, And now, as a graduate of Capital Impact Partners, I'm doing pre-development. Yep, there you go. Thanks so much. I can claim and use the term emerging developer, looking to put sticks in the air on a unit on Dexter Boulevard. So we're doing a phase 1 and phase 2 right now, feasibility
Oh, I want to
studies.
see it.
I sure will, and I'm gonna do that before we get the rendering. Because hey, as I'm learning, all that don't mean crap if you can't put nothing on there, right? It's just a nice little render. I feel good about it. But if
I mean, telling people like it's so much to build, and you got to get the soil tested to see if you can even build on it. And then if that don't pass, that's you can go and kiss that guy. You got a whole lot of
praying that, yeah. I'm already cool with the dirt being bad. Hell, as far as I'm concerned, everybody's dirt bad. What's going on? What's up, Marshall? She said, "What's up?"
Yeah, what up, though? Yeah,
that's cool. She actually, again, I'm a fruit of a lot of her efforts. When I first landed back in Detroit, she was actually one of the first brokers that I met, and then saw how she kicked her business off. Those amazing floors and finishes that she does.
Yeah, she dope. Her and her son.
Yeah, but she was getting with it. And but anyways, nonetheless, that's what I'm about. The same, born and raised here in Detroit, went away, traveled the world for a while, came on back, product of DPS, the Detroit Public Schools, came home from the hospital on the east side with my former. What schools did I go to? Okay, I started off with third. Oh, Cody and Cass. Yep, Cody and Cass. Yeah, Cody and Cass. What you doing?
I graduated from King, so we can't go.
Yep. In fact, the first lady I ever saw dunk, it was more important when I was in high school to watch the Lady Kings play and the lady basketball teams because they always went to the finals. And the first one I seen was a chick rise, and she was a girly girl. Forgive anybody else if offended, and she came up and she came with it. And so those games were more like live than the dude games.
Yeah. Like King, I don't know how the basketball team is now, but our girls, they was the jump for like
oh my gosh,
about 30 years. Like from the 80s past after I graduated to probably early 2010, or however you say that era, 2019. Yeah. So all right, let me back up. So what is probate? Because you mentioned that you do that for people who may be new to here that don't know what probate is. You good?
Appreciate you. Yep, and I'll keep it as I've been taught. Keep it kind of, everybody can get it. Essentially, probate court, and there are 83 counties. There are just about that many in the state of Michigan, but probate court will deal with Wayne County. It's a court where, as it relates to, let's just keep it as it relates to real estate, right? It's a court where if someone dies, I'm going to keep it real simple because these are most of my clients, without a will or some document that says this is how I want things to be done, where the probate court will administer in some cases, or in other cases, allow someone to be appointed to take care of that person who's deceased, their business. The part that I generally come in is sometimes their business includes real estate, whether it be land or interest in real estate or a home that they were living in, or even other homes that they've owned. Because that person is in heaven, but their business is still down here, it's still owned by them. I keep it like that, right? So even then when you have a family member, even when you have a family member come up and says, they said, or I'm going to get, I go, no, not necessarily. There are steps that have to be done because it's still owned by the person, although they're in heaven. And so what I generally find myself is walking people through that process. Frankly, one of the first things I do as it relates to real estate, I tell them to contact Emma, Detroit Title and Escrow, and get a title exam. Why? Because, again, I'm being compassionate, bless their heart. I know granny or granddad or uncle said that, but that title exam was going to give us ground truth. And sometimes we find, oh my God, I didn't know he had a lien against it. Or, oh my God, I didn't know that he failed to pay that credit card 10 years ago, right? Got a judgment, didn't pay it. That type of thing. And you wouldn't know. I mean, they were handling their.
So if you owe credit card debt, they can put a judgment on your property?
Well, more specifically, they can seek all rights and remedies that they want to try to collect the judgment, right? And one of those ways of doing that is, filing that lien against your property. That's one of the ways, so let me not even make a credit card.
Personal and business? You talking about personal and business, or one or the other?
Both. If it's a creditor that gets a judgment and you take that judgment that's valid, you try to get remedy from that, then in a very general sense, you try to tag anything that can be tagged, taxes, properties, things like that until it's satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 So that's what I help folks a lot of times in probate navigate through that, specifically as it relates to estates, wills and estates. There are other things in probate, conservatorships, guardianships, meaning if you're taking care of someone who can't take care of themselves. But I want to kind of keep it to the real estate part here. Another part that functions with probate is there's something called a guardian ad litem, GAL. Basically, a probate court judge will say, for instance, they'll get a petition or someone says, we want to either transfer this property or sell this property of this estate. So what the court may assign as a person, another attorney, an independent attorney for the court, and they'll say, go out, assess these things, and give me a report to see if this is in the best interest of the estate. What does that mean? Again, pretend like your loved one is in heaven, but their business is still down here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's how that goes.
Learn something every day.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
let's get back on the eviction stuff, because I like to talk about putting people out that don't pay.
Yep.
So
Right.
I have made a post about the Beyonce concert, because I don't know if you've seen that was trending, that people was talking about not paying their rent, so they can go to the Beyonce concert. So one lady commented, said, this don't matter because I remove people evictions from the dockets. So I screenshot that, right? And I meant to send it to you. I'm like, this sounds very illegal.
I don't even know what you're talking about, and I don't care what she says.
That's what I
Up.
told her. I was like, that's great, because none of this matters, but you a fool to post that you do this. So I screenshot it and I meant to send it to you. And then I was like, I follow the law. So all my properties be in compliance. I pull permits on my stuff. So that don't matter. And anything that's broke, I fix it. So if you don't pay your rent, you get put out.
I like to segue with that. One of the things, those laws have always been on the books. I can't necessarily say if they've been enforced or not because I'm now in the space, but I know those laws have always been on the books, and Detroit is enforcing those. They've been very responsive. That if you're going to be a landlord, that you're going to follow the order. First of all, if you're going to own property that's going to be used as a rental, residential property, these things and all the ordinances and the things that have to go along with that, so that house essentially can be livable, right? And those things, that is an additional, I won't say expense, but additional thing that landlords or potential investors have to consider. Whereas, again, if they're listening to the Wild Wild West, my words, of yesteryear, when a lot of those things weren't as enforced or readily enforced, that is definitely not the landscape that we're operating in here now.
Yeah, and another sign that I know a neighborhood about to turn, when they start sites giving everybody citations.
Lights and all that, absolutely. So much so that absolutely.
Because like whereas my property, they blighted me. Well, they didn't blight me. They put a saying that I need to put rails on my porch. I was like, I'm not putting the nice welded rails on here till I'm done. But what I will do is put some 2x4s on here.
Isn't that something? And you and I both know just 5 years ago it wasn't that deep. They were not enforcing that code like that. But you understand what's going on.
Since 2017. And actually before that, I didn't own it till 2017.
But hey, the Lower East Side, you got now the streetscapes and all that stuff on Coachable. Well, I won't blast to the world where your stuff is, but you're positioning yourself very well. And even just doing what you do, somebody will come back around and you're sitting on 6 figures just the way it is.
Yeah, like the one I got on Parker is listed, but it's an old wood 2-family flat. So now I'm like, it's gonna cost me in-house $200 to rehab it. I already know it because it's wood. I gotta rehab this house from top to bottom. The roof steep, so that's gonna cost me more because of the pitch and all that. So I'm like, do I tear it down for $25,000 and just keep my lot? Now I'm all in $50,000, $55,000, and then build on it later, or sell the lot later, or rehab it. At this point, either I'm gonna sell it or I'm gonna tear it down. Because it's cheaper. It's cheaper in the long run to tear it down and just keep the grass cut every month.
Absolutely, I got you. I mean, again, to your point, and also depending on if it's in a historic district or it has those things. Even though if it's historic, there's some things that you have to get cleared there. From the city, the historical commission. So there's some. It's a very deliberate process. One that I learned to appreciate every doggone day. And Sister Sart Marshall said dirty inspectors. But anyway,
some of them is. But I have
Yeah.
noticed they've been putting more of the yellow notices on there, but the safety stuff, the compliance
Mm-hmm.
notices. So like one of my rentals, she had got a compliance thing. I was like, I already been talking to them. I had to go to Zoom court, even though I already had paid it. I still showed up at Zoom court just so I could see
Sure.
how this is. So once I actually went through it, I text all my clients like, because all of them got Section 8 tenants. I'm like, go and get compliant. You gonna pass because you passed Section 8, and just pay the
Yeah, yeah.
little fee. That's what it's about, and do it. One of my clients, he kept BS, and they sent him a letter. I was like, I told you to do it. Then he went on and did it, and they dismissed it. But I'm like, just do it. And then being in compliance, if you ever do go to court, we landlords in Detroit, we already guilty until proven innocent. Like this a tenant state, so we already
Yeah.
wrong. We slumlords,
Burden
and I'm
is on the person that's in the commerce that owns the
yeah.
property. I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like just go on and do it, pay the little fee and go on about today. Like, and they give you a peace of mind. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just like whatever. And then another notice
Absolutely.
they putting on the houses, the land bank putting these on the notice to abate.
Okay, again, same thing. That nuisance ordinance has been around a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a while, and actually, now that one was one that's been enforced well before I was an attorney. But I recall it. I was a geek. I read a lot. I recall seeing stuff like that on Plymouth in that area, especially if it resulted in a nuisance, i.e., rats and stuff like that. Right? They
Yeah.
gave that notice and they cleaned that stuff up. And not to be morbid, you and I both know that we went through a spell sometimes where those places were actually places where people get dumped too. So
Mm-hmm.
that they're really forced that
Or
even
God
be
forbid somebody
even
got hurt,
beyond the. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that is bad.
So
Cause they put one on Parker. And I was like, how y'all gonna give me a notice to abate? I got dogs on there, the grass cut, the snow shovel, like but most of the time I think it's just they want to see if somebody taking care of the property. So they put a notice on
sure.
mine December 27th. I emailed them, it took them a month to respond. I called, left voice message, but they talking about you gotta respond within 5 business days. How am I gonna respond 5 business days when you don't respond back? But that's another topic.
But that
So
was I'm not taking up for it, but that was around the holidays. What it pretty much after Thanksgiving to dang near Martin Luther King holiday.
that's what I'm saying.
You
I'm
know,
like, you gonna put the note. I was like, first of all, y'all supposed to be on vacation. The notice said December 27th. So you supposed to be somewhere eating leftovers, ma'am or sir. So that was that. So that had me mad. I'm like, what the hell? So I took pictures, sent it to him, like, where's the abatement issue at? And I was like, y'all want to put a notice on me. What about these fools to the left of me who taking poops and putting in garbage bags, putting it behind my property? You ain't gonna get on that owner. This fool gonna tell me, oh well, the house is occupied, so there's nothing to do. There's no running water, there's no power. The porch is hanging on by the grace of God, and you telling me it's occupied? Are you serious? It's not livable occupied.
yeah,
I'm
understood.
like, y'all picking and choosing battles. And I'm like, all right, ma'am or sir, like you pissing me off. And so she was like, well, when are you gonna start renovation? I was like, well, I can't start now, so it's because it's cold, so that's buying me more time. That's why I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
I gotta make a decision. Am I gonna just tear it down or
yeah.
rehab it? But I think I'm gonna tear it down because
Okay.
it's already
Let me
flooded
ask you.
and stuff like that. So
I know you're more in this space. Are there still folks? Is Detroit still attractive to out of state uh, landlords and investors and things like that? Are they? Because I know our
that's who
inventory is like,
buying everything up. That's who buying
okay,
stuff. It ain't us.
okay, all
But
right,
but this
I got
this the other issue with people who don't know if they want to rent or be a homeowner. You're gonna be forced to be a renter because how the prices in I forgot what city that was that they prices just double overnight because everybody was moving there. So they got this thing called climagrants. So people who move to the Midwest due to climate change where they are. The number one
you.
people moving to Detroit is people from California. Because if a big enough earthquake hit California, God forbid, that boy gonna fall off and be California Island. Like this was all on the show on Discovery Channel when Katrina
Mm-hmm.
happened. Called I think it's called "What Could Happen If." So they did
Okay,
like New York. If a hurricane hit there, if a hurricane hit New Orleans, they had did that right before Katrina. So
sure.
and the climate, all the fires and stuff, California, like it's bad. Like and then a lot
Okay,
of those people from California who move here are still working remotely, so they're getting their half a
okay,
million dollar salary from California and just
sure.
moving here and using
Their
their
money,
auntie address,
yeah, their
and
money
they
goes
coming here
long here.
right, and they paying cash or they getting a mortgage, and they buying in the North End, Morningside, all these neighborhoods that y'all just is so beneath y'all to live in.
Yeah. Oh, I hear
or
you.
either they buying them not fixed up and then fix. All the houses I did for people in the North End was all people that did not look like us from California, and this was
Dig,
2014 to 2018.
dig it. I hear you. I
Now
get
look
it.
at the North End. North End houses 400,000
Yep.
rehab.
Yep.
So I'm just like,
Yep.
y'all better get all a
I
mortgage. I don't care.
distinctly remember when all those houses over there for 20, 30, and 40. I distinctly remember that. I
I remember
distinctly
getting
remember when those.
$600 because people will owe so much on the taxes, and I didn't
Yeah.
care. I just go get on the payment plan, but get them the 600 so they can move, and then I just sell the house to whoever else for 15 grand, and they go get on the tax payment plan. I did that a lot.
Dig it.
Like
To
now,
your
I wish
point, the
I
strategy
could write
part,
help
some of my
those.
clients that I speak to, I have to manage my clients' expectations, especially those that don't live here. And I kind of put it to them in a frame of mind because they're in the business. I says, listen, we can go round and round with these folks for the next 4 months, right? Because of the glutton. And I'll just say, what are you charging? They say, I charge them $1,000. I said, okay, then. So we go round and round to try to get possession of the property within 4 months legally. So that's $4,000 you're not going to get. And then once they're gone, even when we do a money judgment, then you got to pay me or somebody else to try to get that. I still am in the beginning. Once I sized things up, I says, more business position may be just to give them cash for keys. I said, don't let them rip your draws now. But I'm telling you, this is a business decision. It's very easy. I mean, if you
Mhm.
get that peaceful vacation of the property, and whatever it is that you give, and everybody go their way, and that's total consistent with how things. It's just an agreement between two folks.
Look,
Some
I told
folks
one of
get in
my
their feelings. I want to hear it. I tell them whatever. Okay.
man, I told one of my clients a couple years ago, I was like, "This is what you're gonna do? You're gonna cash out me $100. I'm gonna go buy some Hennessy. I'm gonna go over here and talk to these people for you. Hey, this my
Mm-hmm.
peace offering. How much is it gonna cost for my client to get you up out this house and you not tear it up? Most of the time, they just want $1,000 just so they can move. All right, here go to
Mm-hmm.
Hennessy. You gonna
Yep.
sign this agreement. Here go 200 now, and I give you the difference the day you move. But the day they move out, I'm there with dogs and all that, so can't nobody come up in the house afterwards.
I got you.
Most of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
time, they gonna take it because who
Mm-hmm.
want to notice on their record?
Absolutely. Not only that, but uh, I'll take that and flip it on the other side. Say I find myself and I represent a landlord, and I'm speaking to the other attorney that represents a tenant. One of the things I kind of dangle out there is, as you said, being on the record. We try to agree that we go from having them in a named eviction or an agreement or a consent or a conditional dismissal to all tenants. I mean, correction, all occupants, right? And
Mm.
so, it's all occupants. The judgment against all occupants, not a person's name. So I've used that as a leverage sometimes to try to
Oh,
move
because
things along.
I see what you did there because we got these professional tenants in Asia Denson to move out, but Jackson
Right,
and Miss
right,
Jackson and Grandma and Papa, they still up
right.
in there. My name
That's
wasn't on
right.
there.
That's
I
right.
got you.
So we go all occupants.
Yeah, I got you, including
That's
you and
right.
your dog or your
there,
cat.
there it is.
But
But
yeah, this stuff, climate grid stuff, like this stuff serious because I first seen it on YouTube like a year ago, and I was like, "What the hell is the
mhm,
climate grid?" Then Bridge
yeah.
Detroit, I'm gonna shout them out. I love them. They did a write up on it, and then I think
Okay.
Crane did something on it too. And I started research. I'm like, "Oh, this stuff is serious.
Hmm,
Like that. This
I have
really
to
about
look
to
that
change
up.
Detroit, like for real."
Yeah, I have to look that up and get more familiar with that.
Yeah, because
But
this is a game
but
changer.
the humanness. I'll tell you why I'm not a property manager. I'll tell you why I'm not a actual landlord. And if I did, I would hire a property manager because I wouldn't make a good decision. Right? As soon as I see them faces, they'll work me over. Don't let it be no babies in
Yeah,
there.
that
They'll
was
they'll
me when
work
I
me.
first started.
Yeah, they will
Never again.
work me over every time. There's no way in the world. I'm okay walking in something empty and got raccoons and possums. That ain't gonna scare me. But doggone, I can steal right through that. But if it's a human in there, and then it just so knowing myself, I use the services of folks that know how to do that because I couldn't
Yeah,
do it.
you know
I
what's
make
hard?
very poor decisions.
I first came back home from school, I worked for this engineering firm, and they contracted me to work with DTE. So I was on the cutoff crew. Boy, I was
Okay,
crying. I was crying every day because it's dead of winter. If a kid in the house and we see a kid in there, we couldn't cut them off. So you know what
okay,
Detroit is doing? put baby girl in the window with a little toy and a PJs, looking all sad, eating some ramen noodles. I'm just sitting
Stop it. I should
there,
be
boo
laughing.
hoo.
Stop
I'm sitting there boo hooing like, how y'all gonna cut this is just
it.
wrong? Because I'm the only girl on the crew, so I'm emotional. They're like, hey, look, dog, you gotta chill with that. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
wrong. But I
Yeah.
seen this one house we was about to cut off. They somebody was reported a gas leak. Somebody
Mm.
dug it up, ran gas from a abandoned house to their house through a garden hose. First of all, you
Yeah.
are very smart to know how to do this and not blow yourself up or not to block
Yeah.
up. So you could go
Wow.
work for DT and make $40-$50 an hour if you got your life together. The sad part about that is you could have blown yourself up or the block, just like how they be stealing
Yeah.
power and stuff. And like with this
Yeah.
power outage right now, DTE, they really need to put all our lines underground because we're like a very old city. And
Mm-hmm.
then I did notice
Mm-hmm.
on new rehabs that I've been doing,
That's
if the
right.
house is sitting
Yep.
vacant more than a year, they make you
Yep.
go underground,
Yep.
which is
Yep.
smart.
Absolutely. Yep.
It pissed me off at
Yep.
first because it pushed my rehab back, but I was kind of
Yep.
like, actually, just kind of smart.
Now,
But it's
mine
gonna
wasn't a
cost us
complete
good though.
rehab, but I was in Highland Park. I got a property in Highland Park, and I got educated. It was just short enough from the pole that they
Mm-hmm.
justified it because the same thing happened. The inspector showed up. He's like, "We got to run this on the ground." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, that's what we're doing now." Or the DTE person or whatever. And so I kind of went back and played my case. I was like, "Listen, it's just right here. It's just."
Ponce. Ponce on AOL dial up, y'all. So let me text him. I don't think he
I'm
know he
still
froze.
here.
Oh, you
I'm still
froze.
here. You froze for a minute too.
I
I'm
did.
here. Yeah, you sure did. We both froze for a minute, but we're back. I got you live.
All right, let me see what's going on. Make sure.
Okay. I'm still here. I'm just letting you know I'm turning. Did you pay for the DTE underground upgrade or does
There we go.
DTE? That was on
Okay.
me. I remember them saying that would be, I had to
Yeah,
pay for that. If they had
I
to
had
run
to
it up.
pay. It
Yeah,
was
I
like
had to pay for that.
it was only $800 or something dollars. Because when they first said that, I'm like, no,
Yeah.
it's about 10 grand. But he was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's 8 something. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I can swing that.
Well, and as I go further with the development, I may just go ahead and chuck it up. But at the time, I was ignorant to what was going on, and all I knew was I wanted to see a line run from there to there, and that's all I needed. Pretty much power to the box, right? Up to the boxes. I've learned, right? We just had it to the box, and
Yeah.
and that met the requirement for now. So
I just was happy to have power because I waited. So that pushed my big orange, that pushed that
Mhm.
flip back 4 months because I had to wait on DT because I couldn't go to the next phase of my rehab with no power.
Right,
Like I can't close no walls if all my electrical ain't passed.
I hear you, and
And then it was
I'm
in the
learning.
summer, so we got storms and all these power outages. So that pushed my time back. I'm like, bro.
So, and I'll still go with the social component. As much as folks will, and I kind of don't blame them. Again, I'm gonna pretend now I'm on the side now. The people that are in the house, who for whatever reason are not paying, but know how to do everything else. Um, if that
Period.
landlord, yeah, but if that landlord gives me a little room at all, you better have everything straight. I will buy that. Listen, I turn around and tell them, I said, we're gonna be up in here the 4th of July. I said, so hey, you better have it together, or
I
what's
got
in
to
it
tell
for me and
my
my client.
I'm like, I got time. So how long you want this to
Yeah.
go, baby? I got time. Well, I do this to the
I
house.
hear
Thank you for putting that in the text message because now you about to have criminal charges on you, and I got
yeah,
insurance.
yeah. Yep.
Just
But
like
once we get to it, then it's
I ain't gonna
done.
mention no streets, but old girl that bought the one next to me. This
Mm-hmm.
I still don't understand this person. Like you've been in this house since 2018 and ain't paid no rent. It's 2022 when the process started. And you
Hey,
got the audacity to have an attitude, but you got a brand new pickup truck in the driveway, brand new. Oh, but I work at the plant. I got money, but you don't pay your rent. So of course you got money because you don't pay your rent. And your rent was only $500 for a three
hey,
bedroom, one bath. That was
hey.
not updated, but it didn't look like the year the house got built.
Sure.
I'm like the
Yeah.
audacity of y'all for real.
I
And
like the way
then
that you
go ahead.
go for it. No, go for it.
I gotta let them know what happened. And then he had the audacity to have his parents living in the property, knowing he not paying rent. So now we got to put you and grandma and grandpa out the house. I'm like,
Hey,
see, y'all really trying me. Okay,
hey.
I digress. Go ahead, Ponce.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. You're hey,
It be
I
the
see it.
audacity. It really be the audacity. And then sometimes they want to pull the race card. We both black, okay? We both from Detroit. Try somebody else.
Everybody know what's going on here.
Yeah,
I
like you
think in
shouldn't
that
live in
area,
your people. Blah blah blah. Man,
listen,
get out my
mine
face.
was counting mine was counting $100 bills with the Asbury Cartier she just purchased. But see, folks,
Swear.
okay, I'm not gonna put them out. They'll have to get to know Miss Salt Marshall. But well, let me make it plain. She, not only is a license, all the licenses that she has, she maintains those high standards in the industry in that we're in.
Yeah, she
But
dope.
she knows how to speak. She knows how to speak their language, and they definitely
Right.
understand, right? She knows how to. Hey, you want to rock like that? She knows how to speak their language, and
Right.
that's
I hit
that's
them
a
real quick,
benefit.
like, this
That's a
what we doing?
benefit. She
This
know how
is
to
what
sway
we
with
doing.
them. That's right. She
Right.
know how to sway with them. So that's pretty cool.
I hit them real quick,
Um,
like, this is what we doing. You want my college engineering degree side of me to come out, or you want this Westminster and Oakland side to come out? It's however you want
hey,
this
I
to go,
hear
my
you.
baby. Like, however.
Now, what do you now? Either from the folks that are in your audience here, or even from you, please. Now, and I've been watching this for a long time. There's going to come a point where we then do infill housing. I'm talking in the basic neighborhoods, Plymouth and Greenfield. You know what I'm saying, or off where the whole stretch where there's just one house or nothing, where there are prairies now, right? What do you think the infill? Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Yes, I see your note there. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I'm about to share the link.
Yeah, send her the link. Let her come on in and bless us with her
Yeah.
perspective. What are your thoughts or insights, or what do you hear? I know we're doing the core areas, right? We all know those are, but there's still areas and places like Brightmoor. There's still places, Plymouth, West Chicago, Tyreman, where the whole block literally is now a prairie. But those once had houses on lots 40 by 100. So when what are we, like 10, 15 years out or so? Or what do you think when that infield housing then will start? There probably won't be no basements. They'll probably be all on the slab. I don't know. Probably ain't going to do basements in the new joints no more. I
No,
don't
because
know.
it's gonna
But what
cost
are
too
your
much
thoughts?
statement.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is what I think. Well, number one, I've been telling everybody to buy Brightmoor since 2014, and I was right again. Shout out to you, Ponce, for sending me the article. I was like, look at me being right
Yep.
again. So
Yep.
Brightmoor is perfect to answer your question, or the infield places, because it's just land. The only bad
Yep.
side is about all these animals coming, because there's hella deers in Brightmoor. Like, is this a zoo?
Man, them deer
Like,
walk around like pigeons in the daytime.
it was one that
And
was by my rehab.
with deer comes everything that wants to hang out with deer: coyote,
Mm-hmm.
foxes, and then you got the River Ruiz tributary is down that way.
And then you
Elijah
got
Howell
Thumper.
Park.
You got a little Thumper in his game want to come over there
Oh,
behind him. I'm like, oh, so we
hey,
a
that's
whole.
what. Hey, the coyote be trotting after Thumper all through there.
It was some groundhogs had got in my property over there. They had burned a hole through the foundation wall on the side. So my
Yep.
brick guy had to go over there and seal all that, and then that's why I had to go ahead and rebuild that porch sooner than later, because they was coming in under that wood porch, and we seen the
Okay.
holes or whatever. But I'm just like, man. Anyway, I digress on that too. But to answer your question, I do think all of that eventually all of Detroit is going to be gentrified. They started downtown back when Kwame was in office. Actually, when we found out we was having the Super Bowl here. So what was that, like 03, 04, something like that? And I think the Super Bowl was like in 05 or 06. So once that started the whole future Detroit plan or whatever up until 2030. So first they went downtown. Then remember the first neighborhood was Corktown, because that's literally right outside. Then it went in the southwest. Then it started coming up Woodward, and you got to New Center, Wayne State, because Wayne State don't look nothing like it did when I was growing up. Like, that look completely different. And then outside of Wayne State, the wave just kept coming down Woodward. Now you got the New Center area, you got North End, Highland Park about to be the jump, like I've been telling people forever. And then the next area that's about to boom over there is about to be the whole little 8 mile Woodward corridor, East State Fair 7 mile, the old Hostro.
Yeah,
all that
yeah, the
get
Grits.
redone.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh
'Cause
yeah.
the
Right across from
Amazon
Farmer Park, all that stuff over there. Yeah, oh yeah,
all
the
that about to
Gritsdale,
get done.
Gritsdale, all the way back to John R.
Yeah,
All the way back
all
to
that.
John R. I hear you. Yep, 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 yep,
All
yep,
that's
yep,
about to
yep.
get redone because there's
Oh
too
yeah,
much
oh
land
yeah.
over there. Properties are cheap. Like I remember wholesaling houses over there for 8-10 grand with people still living in
Mhm.
there and they won't tow up yet. So eventually
Yeah,
the whole city is going to be gentrified. It's just going into pockets. It's going to be a 5 to 15 year span, but that time gonna go by regardless. So
okay,
I tell everybody buy now and just wait. Like it don't cost much. As long as you don't buy no land bank house, you can take as long as you want. Just do the little
mhm,
stuff outside. So abatement and all that won't be on your head. Pay the $100 vacant fee or whatever, or not. That's your
sure,
choice. And then just sit and wait and pay your property taxes, and of course keep some property insurance on it. But Brightmoor is definitely the next neighborhood because the article proved that the only backlash is that the people who live over there is like, it's gonna price us out. But if
right,
you own your home, it's not gonna price you out.
right.
Now, if
I
you
hear you.
renting, it's gonna price you out. But another reason Brightmoor is gonna be good because Brightmoor is one of the cheaper neighborhoods to live in right now.
Yep.
To be updated, like you can still find something in Brightmoor
And
between
even the maintenance is a little bit easier. There are no basements. Rarely do
and
they have basements on there. Everything's on a slab.
yep.
No basements. Yeah. So
Only
you
thing
know.
I don't like about houses with no basement, I can't just go
Hmm.
down there and see what my problem is.
Ah, okay.
That's
I hear you.
one reason I don't like crawl
Ah,
spaces
okay. Got
because
you.
I'm not going down there.
No, me neither me at
That's
all.
too tight and confined. I'm like, oh, this looks like a scary movie. No, thank you.
Now I'm question for you. Even with those crawl spaces, do they have to have like so your pipes won't freeze? Do they put heaters and stuff under there still, or was that something I remember from 1,000 years ago down south? How does that go?
Some do like the ones on my street we're not gonna name.
Okay.
That one was on the crawl space with the furnace in there. Like, so I just had them go down there and send me videos. Like, okay, do
Okay.
this, do that, because I'm
All
not
right.
going down there. I believe what you said.
Yep. Yep. I hear you. I hear you. Dig
Like,
that.
but some got heaters, but the heat is going on. The furnace is down there, so it's already naturally warm
Okay.
anyway.
Got you. Got you.
Yeah, you
Okay.
just got to make sure you got the vents on the side of the house because if it's not, that CO2 gonna build up in there, and that's gonna
Got
be
you.
that.
See what it's gonna do.
Yeah,
I hear
but
you. I
I
hear
keep
you.
telling everybody I'm Team Bright Mode.
How those how are things? I know you well versed in land bank, not only from the perspective of providing services to the land bank, but from the perspective of walking clients through acquisition and meeting the requirements for land bank homes. How's that inventory? Is it coming along, or is it like it's about to start getting closed up? What's going on?
Somebody did ask that question, so that's right on time. So somebody
Oh, okay.
asked, can you explain why not to buy a land bank? All right. So land bank houses are some beautiful houses because those are the ones the city just been holding on
Hmm.
since the beginning of time to sell for whatever reason.
Yeah.
The brick is gonna be almost beautiful on it, but the rehab is so extensive because that house has been sitting vacant this 2023. I'm gonna say probably at least since 2010. It's been sitting vacant, maybe earlier because the mortgage crisis was 2008. So we're gonna say they've been sitting empty since '08, '07, '08. That's almost 20 years that a house has been sitting there vacant. You have to gut them. All of them got to get full gutted. Half of them got knob and tube because they are 100 plus years old. So you got to take that out. If it's knob and tube in there, that's an automatic full gut. Your rehab is going to be probably 2 to 3 times your purchase price, if not more.
So okay, so that makes no business sense then, right? Or
It depends. Hawkeye, would you chill? That's my dog. He
yeah,
hears
no
somebody.
problem. That's that little bitty thing. That's the canine chorus.
Yeah, man, that's
Okay.
the 250-pound killer.
Okay, got you.
He heard somebody. The UPS was on the porch. I just got a sink delivered. See,
Okay.
but anyway,
Dig it.
so land bank houses are they need a lot of would you chill? They need a lot of rehab. And you got time constraints. That's the biggest thing with land bank houses. I'm gonna have to take a 2-second break and go calm this bro down. Hawkeye. Not people be seeing what I be saying about him. Jesus, he is
That's
tripping.
okay. That's okay. It's a canine chorus.
Like he be
Um,
forgetting that he only 30 pounds, but in his mind he 350.
dig it. Dig it. Okay.
Oh,
Thanks for
I can
giving me.
finish answering it though. So land bank houses, you got a time constraint on it. You only have 6 to 9 months to rehab it. 6 months if it's regular, 9 months if it's historical. Now they do give extension. They extend. I've seen some clients get extended 2, 3, 4 years. You just have to keep updating them. Don't just buy it and don't do nothing. And then
Right.
some people wait until they get that final notice. Then they want to get on me and try to rush me. You done had this house for a whole year.
Okay.
So that's why I don't like that either. Now you got a lot of contractors who won't even touch land bank houses for whatever reason. I don't care. I rehab a land bank house. It don't matter to me. A house is a house. So that's my main reason why I say don't buy them if you don't have no money. Now if your money long, like the Lodge Freeway, have at it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Your thing. But if your money ain't long, you trying to like slow roll it and do pieces at a time and stuff, like you can't do that with no land bank house. If you're trying to slow roll it, be like me, buy from anybody but the land bank.
Okay.
Now the only good thing about land bank houses are they cheap.
Okay.
You can buy a house for $1,000. Yes, you can. But your rehab might be 400,000. Especially if it's an old brick 2-family flat over there off Dexter and anything, Linwood, Dexter Davis, and them houses is retardedly like them things is huge.
Remember, watch this. They're huge, but now we're pivoting from what we saw. Remember, in broad daylight, we saw folks reclaiming bricks off the side of them houses.
Genius.
I mean,
Genius.
broad daylight. They were reclaiming the bricks, knocking the mortar off, and neatly palletizing the bricks.
Yep. Number one, if
I didn't know if I should have been mad or if I was just like, yo, I was like, hey.
But I heard that the city actually be, I don't know if it's true, but I did hear some people say that the city might be paying those people to do that, to salvage them for whatever reason. That could be true because like I got a pallet of bricks on Kercheval from when we redid that porch that I use on other houses because it's hard to match that old brick.
Right.
And then you could try to blend it with the new brick if you can, like, but it's really, really hard. So a lot of people do salvage bricks or steal them off old buildings to build themselves a new porch.
Especially those nice blind, I call them blind bricks. Those nice
Yeah.
blind bricks on those 2-family
What else
flats.
can you build with bricks? You can build you a fire pit.
Yeah.
You can build your nice little walkway if you want to have a paved walkway like how Michigan Avenue look. There's a lot of things you can do with it. So like I don't throw bricks away. I just pile them up on one of my properties because I'm gonna use them somewhere. But that is a talent. But to those watching, if you ever see somebody doing that, I highly suggest you walk up on them with your Second Amendment and announce yourself because they probably have their Second Amendment too, and get their phone number. Because if you're that talented to take bricks off a building and don't break one, or you fall to your descending self because you high up on that scaffold to do that, that's a talent. And you might want to get
only one time I had the nerve because I ain't trying to get in nobody else's business and get my face slapped. But one time I pulled up, I was like, "Hey man, just tell me what's up." I mean, they didn't look like they were from where I was, and I was tripping on the audacity, broad daylight, on the audacity of it.
But they won't do that across 8 Mile though. They only do it over here. Just like with them dumping in the city. I don't really see people a lot of illegal dumping like how it used to be because they down on it. But they wouldn't dare dump across 8 Mile just in a random yard or something like that. Y'all wouldn't dare do that.
You had that advocate down. Let's go back to 8 Mile, Brightmore. You had that one guy, that advocate down there that lived down there. He was catfishing folks and baiting. He had folks rolling up on him. They dumping boats and shit like that. And he had that camera. He's on YouTube.
That's why I got out.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of Brightmore, this is how I knew Brightmore someone was about to have. Remember back in like 2009, 2010, when Pootie Holmes was over there tearing down houses out the kindness in their heart? Man, please, who you think you fooling? They was tearing them down out the kindness of their heart. They was hiring people in the neighborhood to do it out. We want to get Detroiters back on their feet, and we want to do this for the city. Man, please. Brightmore borders Redford, Dearborn Heights, Redford Township, Livonia.
Livonia. Yeah.
And if you keep going, once you go through Livonia, now you're in Westland Garden City. It's too close to everything. It's right off the free automated, well, not major, but 96 right there. Telegraph a freeway. You can take Telegraph damn near to Ohio.
Yeah.
What else over there? Parts of, no, not the Lodge. Yeah, just 96, I think.
96.
Yeah. So I'm like, that was my first red flag.
Telegraph.
Yeah. So that was my first red flag. Like, don't nobody else see this? Just like when I worked on the highway, we was replacing all the curb and gutters and putting handicap ramps and bike lanes on Finkel. Like, what? we was doing them on Linden and Schoolcraft. We was doing them like all the hoods, and I'm like, this is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are we fixing this up? None of
And
them
nobody had hover rounds back then, or at least they weren't using them the way they rock with them now in the streets.
Well, one reason I heard was because the city had got sued some years ago because we didn't have those handicap ramps. Like I guess somebody got hurt or got hit by a car or something like that.
Okay.
So hopefully that person is okay. I don't know, but I think that has something to do with it too. But I thought y'all just gonna do that neighborhood where that person they did the whole city.
Yeah, especially if that's to your point, if it became a safety thing or some type of law or some type of accommodation, then that's the remedy that you do that. Even for the folks that are blind, that's why they put those little rumble things down there so they know where they are at the corner and stuff like that. Mm-hmm.
So Rachel made a good point because this is true. The city they get the cream of the crop from the tax sale, which is true. Because a lot of these houses they've been holding on since the market crash in 08.
Okay.
And those is the real nice ones, like real nice, like
I'm hip.
Like
I'm real hip.
We talking about over there off Broad Street,
the Sal Gardens, the one around there. Yeah. I'm
I remember I had a lady from Vegas bought a house in LaSalle Gardens back in like 2010 from the auction. She paid like $4,000 for it, and I forgot what street it was, but this boy was like 5 bedrooms, 2 baths, a library, like huge. And I told her, I was like, you need to keep this. And but the city started finding her. You need to do this, you need to do that, because she wasn't supposed to have that house. And of course she looked like us, but she was from Vegas. So she ended up like writing it off for the appraised value, which was like 200 some thousand to some charity group or something like that. And I was just like,
she got from up under the liabilities of what was going on.
Yeah, because she just like, it's just too much. Like, I'm trying to help the city or invest in the city, and they coming at me like this. And she actually had a valid point. And that's the other thing I don't like about what the city do. Like, the ones who really trying to do right, y'all be coming at them crazy, like me. And you got the people next door who 20 deep with no running water and no power.
Are there any challenges? We speak about, I guess, those that are, properties that already have some type of structure on it, and you make a business decision, or your client says, I want to press forward, and you go, okay, this is what we got. Are there any, what about new construction, or, to your point, we just knock things down and then start from is it still, construction costs and things like that? Does it still make good sense sometimes? I know it's case by case, but I was just kind of curious. What are your thoughts?
For me being a GC, and Rachel probably can agree to this, because we gonna get better pricing than if we were charging a client. To me, it's about the same. So like the one I got on Parker, Big Yellow, if I rehab that house myself, it's gonna still cost me 180 to 200,000 in-house to do it, because it's that intense of a rehab.
Okay.
If I tear that boy down for 25 to 40,000, I could drop a container home on there for 250. Okay. So to me, it made more sense number wise to do just that.
Okay.
And then now I'm developing the neighborhood, and now I can go to the land bank or the city like, hey, y'all got to do something about this house next door to me, because I'm not about to put this brand new property right here, and my tenants have to live next to this, or the new homeowner. And also, once y'all do something, I want first right of refusal to that lot.
Dig it. Okay. All right. So again,
it really depends.
You speak about the continued theme. I call it a crust in the corner. Square up what you can, on a little something what you have, and then you can enforce your rights and your interest. And things go that way.
Yeah. But
all things is the land.
It's also easier to get funding for new construction. It's way easier. You ain't got the ARV matter, but not really.
Okay.
It's a lot easier to get funding for that because it's new.
Well, as I share with you, I've now, but I paid my dues, I believe, and I was very humble about it. I know what I do well, and those things I do well, right? But I first started off, and I'm gonna give a shout out to Chase Cantrell. I started off with his building community value cohort, and I did that summer. And I went from learning, what I'm speaking about now is learning from more, these are my words, the hype to the very methodical and intentional what you do and what you Salt Marshal does. Folks may say, hey, I just want to rehab this thing. You're going, there's a process to do this. Yeah. It's very methodical, it's intentional, and and heck, you mitigate risk and you move forward. And so that's where I found myself now. I kind of moved out of the areas that I found myself comfortable, and now I'm pressing forward now with again as an emerging developer with units on Dexter. And so we're in the process now, as you spoke about, the phase 1, phase 2. Is it contaminated? Is it hot? How do if it's a brown field, how do I abate that? Before you even get to, this is what I want to build on it. So even now, when folks ask me, what do you want to put on there? I say, frankly, whatever the sense makes sense that I'm gonna put on there. and what somebody wants,
after.
right, and what somebody's going to stop and pay for there. So I'm not wedded to it as much anymore. I also understand and be able to appreciate a lot more now that sometimes development, I know other folks know this right off the rip, but I'm learning, has to come to me. I have some properties in I've been doing some land assembly in other cities, and although I see the vision and I know it's right, it's not just time yet. So to your point, a lot of times I just make, not a lot of times I do, I just kind of activate the space, make it look better than what it was. Those are holding costs, so I keep those holding costs in my mind. So when it's time to do something, I know, frankly, forget the sweat equity. That's cool, but I want to know how much I've already put into this thing.
Right.
When I have to make some business decisions, if I have to sell it to somebody who knows how to do what they know how to do, do a land lease or something like that for a gazillion years, and I don't have to be an active partner in it. So there's still opportunity, and there's still very deliberate, known and unknown folks that are just on the grind, doing, depending on when the units are demoed. If the new soil comes back birdie, the replacement may be free. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, Marshall. So I, of course, note to self so I can continue. And that's why I'm going to, surround myself, learn a lot more, frankly, and take baby steps.
Yeah.
But when you just got a block of land.
That's why I tell you, but you taking the steps though, and you just take, even if you do one step, like just start. And that'd be what I tell people, like they be so afraid. I'm like, what you afraid of? Losing money. You lose money every day you walk out the house. You spending money on gas, food, hair, nails. like when you break stuff down like that to people, I think it makes it think. Because this one lady, she was like, I only got one house. I was like, that's great. That's awesome. You got one more than a lot of other people.
That's right. And immediately my brain immediately said, is it lots on either side of it, on the back of it, or behind the alley of it? Let's go.
Like, okay, congratulations.
Let's get it.
Don't be trying to downplay yourself, and if somebody else try to downplay you, that's not your friend no more. So
more of my, I guess you can say, now I'm gonna flip a little bit from my capitalist view to my just trying to do great things by great people. We're still losing. I see it almost, at least once a week. Folks who, we throw these terms around, generational wealth, but I see, for a lack of poor planning, not ignorance, because I figure you do what you want to do the way you want to do it, where folks are literally losing, just as you just said, that basic home or the generations afterwards for, listen, it's not even a mortgage on the darn thing, just for basic taxes. And one of the ways I break it down, I said, you do know what renting is like. Yeah, I rent all the time. Well, take that little funky, $1,300 worth of taxes and divide it by 12, and every month pay $100 online to the Wayne County Treasurer.
Or by the week. Or sign up for the programs. They got to get your taxes waived on the house. You just got to reapply every 2 years, because I sure did it.
Yeah. So to your point, but I've learned how to kind of disconnect myself from that I've said, okay, I will inform. I'm not going to judge, but I can only go so far, because I'm the one head hurting and everything.
I'm judging. I
hear you. And another way I've spun it though is I then also say again, put the capitalist back on. I'll be like, but I know people that'll buy this mug from you anyway. Then if you just gonna go ahead, let's not lose it. I know somebody that'll come up here and give you cash money. You have to be out of here or be gone already, and they'll do what they're gonna do.
Since Beyonce come to the city and everybody don't want to pay their rent or your mortgage, holla at me. Like I already posted. I'll buy it.
Yeah.
You can sit on the front row. You can be on the side when she come out the thing and tap her hand like you at a Pistons game. I don't care, because I'm judging, but I'm not judging. Okay, you want to go to this concert? Cool. What you doing with the house? Because you're going to lose it, because you using all your money to sit on the front row and your taxes is due. March 31st, you got to be on the tax payment plan, or your house getting took in August.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Are there any questions? I guess there are a lot, you have a lot of people in the audience that are from around the world, actually, thanks to technology. I'm willing to entertain any hypothetical questions as it relates to evictions, squatters, and things like that.
All right, I read some. One person said, did you know or did you hear that the prices for the apartments at the Hudson site will be starting at $3,000? Who's surprised? And it's probably going to be a studio. I'm not surprised. They don't want us downtown. Why are y'all surprised?
I didn't hear it, but if that's what the market demands, then so be it. Remember, I told you I keep going back and forth. That as a capitalist, if that's what the market demands, I got my skin in the game and I'm building this doggone thing, then so be it. Right. But then on the further side, as a person with humans, what humans do I know that can afford something like that? Then where do they go? Right. After they're displaced.
But see, that's why I be having mixed views on stuff like that. From a real estate investor side, I get it. You're going to go with the market rate. From a a black Detroiter side, we the ones who kept this city afloat when nobody else believed in this city. That was us. That kept downtown going, all the black business down there, and then they started raising the rent, forcing them out. I had a lot of friends who lived in the Milliter Center. Their rent used to be $800 forever. And then here come 2009. Now they rent 1,500. Excuse me.
And remember the apartment building used to be called the Trolley Plaza, I think.
Yep.
That was nice. I knew folks that lived down there, real nice. They worked downtown. Well, boss, they didn't even have a car. They catch the people mover. They was catching the people mover when nobody else was taking the people mover.
Yep. Like, we the ones who kept this city afloat. So with the Hudson site, the only way some of us are going to be there is if he used any type of affordable housing tax credits. Because I think in the state of Michigan, you have to have so many for affordable housing. That could be 10 units out of 100. Whatever that percentage is, it got to be that. That's the only way some of us going to be down there, which is the sad part. But, I mean, I don't want to live downtown anyway. I like living in the neighborhood. I'm a neighborhood person.
Dig it.
So let me see what other questions we got. No, I don't want to invite to join. You already on here. There we go. Can I schedule a meeting with you to sharpen? Yep, always. Paid consultations. Can you purchase a land bank house if you out of state? It seems like it's only for Detroit. Yeah. It used to only be for Detroiters, but they've been opening it up to everybody. When it was just for Detroit, they weren't selling.
Yeah.
What Rachel say? She said these go to the land bank, then they rehab and ready them and leave the ready ones for us to fight over. Facts. Facts.
Yes.
Oh, Russell Woods. Oh yeah, Russell Woods is very nice. I think that whole neighborhood is brick.
Yeah.
Depending on when the units were demo. Oh, I think you read that part. Let's see. We better
Ponce on Pure, Wyoming, Finkel, Shane.
You know what other neighborhood about to come up? People sleeping on?
What, Warrendale?
No, Shane and Mac. I think that's part of Bangalore.
Oh yeah.
Shane, like that whole little neighborhood about to come up because I
grew up the overflow from, like, because people are getting priced out of Hamtramck. So yeah, overflow right over in. In fact, if you look at some of the legal descriptions, it will still say Hamtramck over, although you're in Detroit. Okay.
And they priced out of what else right there? Midtown, right up Mac.
Oh my goodness, yes. Are you kidding me?
Like they getting priced out of that. So I was like, they turned that elementary school into a precinct. That was the first, like, oh, okay. Detroit Edison Academy is over there, which is a top DPS school. I think it's a DPS or a charter. I'm not sure. You can walk to the Eastern Market. You right outside downtown. Like, and it ain't nothing but miles of land over there. Miles of land. And for y'all that's from Detroit, I'm talking about from Gratiot and Shane, Mac. I think that's Mac.
Even going up northeast. If you go to Gratiot now toward 7 Mile in that area, and then you go to the left hand. It's basically behind the airport or around the airport or on the other end of the airport. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a no-brainer. For those that continue to collect land over there, I don't know what the stall has been over there. I mean, it's a freaking airport, almost like Midway in Chicago. I don't understand why that thing stays stalled like that. That's beyond my scope of I don't know what's up. You would think. Yeah.
But all that land over there, Shane and Mac, all up by the Pepsi plant, go, man. Because it's just miles of land all the way up to 94. And once you get to 94, you in Hamtramck, and where you at? The plant that build a boat. That's a Ford. No, that's GM. That's a GM plant. Yep.
And then over there off East 7 Mile Van Dyke, you got
there's a plant over there they built.
Yeah. They're just built from the ground up. I can't think of the name of it. Jeez.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the neighborhood either. Like 6 Mile, 6 Mile Van Dyke, 7 Mile.
Man, it's escaping me.
And over there by Kettering, because they tore down Kettering and built the plant. They supply
Flexing Gate.
Yeah, they supply.
I had to think through it. Yeah,
so that whole little neighborhood about to change because they tore down the little grocery store that was on what's that, Gratiot and Van Dyke. They tore that down maybe like 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
So I'm like, yeah, that's coming up. Somebody said, what type of jobs are coming to Detroit to justify investing? Well, we majority of Detroit is blue collar, but you do have like Fatheads is here, of course, Quicken Loans, the big three. I forgot what other little companies. I'll look it up. And
healthcare is still booming. Healthcare.
Yeah, our healthcare is the young. They just built with $100 million cancer institute.
Across here, live here, and people need somewhere to stay. Again, don't listen. I mean, people want and need and will pay for what it is that they want.
And you got these climate migrants, like I said earlier, or people who just move here because Detroit cheap. If like when I go visit these other places, that made me love Detroit even more.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
if you making 40, I'm gonna say at least 50,000 in the city. Even 40, you can live good here. And if you marry and you and your spouse making 40 as people, y'all living very swell on 80,000 a year in the city.
You looking righteous if you got a hun. And I
Especially if
would
you own
listen,
your house outright.
and I
Or
wouldn't take a hun in some other states because I'll be living like under a closet. Your money's all right here.
like when I go to Philly and stuff, these other cities, I'm like, y'all paid 400,000 for this. You ain't even got no backyard. You ain't even got no grass.
Where you park?
You can reach out and touch your neighbor. Everything is rolled and side by side. Detroit, we have yards. Like my mom house sit on 2 parcels.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes,
depending
ma'am.
on what Detroit you on, you can buy the whole block and own and fence it off if you want to.
Absolutely,
Like,
quite a bit on the Lower East Side, on Alexandrine and stuff like that, down that way,
yeah.
Superior. Oh yeah, Like just get the thing in the middle, put the chicken coop around it, type thing. On each side and the back, and it's almost like a little ranch.
The only thing that's holding us back, I'm always say, gonna be the schools, which is gonna get fixed because there's too many others coming here. They gotta fix DPS because everybody who moved here, everybody can't afford private school.
Right.
Once they fix Detroit public school system, it is a wrap for Detroiters. For us, it's over. And then have you also noticed that crime across 8 Mile is starting to get a little bit worse? I don't know
Yes.
if y'all know. Like I've been noticing that because I follow Crime in the D on Detroit page, and they be showing
Yes.
the suburban stuff too. And
Yep.
I'm like, ain't nobody paying attention to that because everybody who leaving here, they moving to Southfield, Oak Park, Warren, Centerfield, everything that border Detroit, and then those people are moving here. Like it's a reverse migration. It's like we leaving the city and they coming. Because for one, them houses out there is trash if they not brick. Because remember when the Great White Flight happened, they had to hurry up and build suburbs. So them houses coming on 50 plus years of being built and they trash. I put a Detroit house up against anybody. Our houses is 100 to 150 years old and they still look great. I mean, it's a full gut. Of course, you got to update it.
Solid.
The foundation be straight. The
Yes.
roof the frame is straight. Like I mean,
Even again, I'll tell you some of the things I've learned more and more. That old growth wood that's in there that you repurpose. That wood that ain't a termite ever bought. Well, we don't have a lot of termites, but it's just strong old wood.
yeah.
Right, that you repurpose there.
Like
Yeah.
I don't understand how people get in these houses and take up the hardwood or cover it. I restore all the hardwood in my house if it's able to be restored, because that set the house
Fire
off.
marshal was doing that too. I mean, she could speak for herself, but I got to know her. She was killing them floors.
Yeah,
Just the expose I seen her. She was killing them. She's making
yeah.
that
I redo all my hardwood floors. Like I'll carpet upstairs if it ain't no hardwood, but if the whole house got hardwood, I'm redoing it. And then a little trick for everybody. Rachel might do this too. If you got to do any repairs to the floors, go with a darker stain because when you stain it, it's gonna blend and ain't nobody gonna know them repairs was done but you.
Okay.
Because if you go with a lighter stain, you gonna see the different woods, you're gonna see the different cuts. If you go darker, it's gonna blend and you ain't gonna see nothing. It's gonna look good.
Dig it. She said
Somebody,
yes.
did she know? Somebody said, do you have any contracts for grant writers? No, I don't. I need one myself. I don't have a nonprofit, but I need one. Yeah, it is a plan on 94 encounters. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
My side chicks make 60K a year. Her baby is baby. Hey, do your thing. Facts, Rachel. So for people who don't know, Rachel is another Black woman contractor in Detroit. She does amazing.
Licensed. Allow me. I know people understand that, but you all are licensed by the state of Michigan, licensed residential builders. Okay,
and insured, and she's also a licensed real estate broker too. So
she is.
Understands the market as well. Like she's a dope contractor. So if I'm not available, you can always reach out to her. Another dope Black woman contractor is in the city is Nail Right Construction, Kimley.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if you know her. Rachel might know her, but Kimley, she I think her whole family worked with her because her brothers and her sister do the drywall. I have never seen no brothers drywall like them. Them some of the coldest drywalls I've ever seen in my life. When I came up in that property they did for me, I thought they was in there doing dope because everybody had all the dust on their face. I'm like, boy, if I didn't know what y'all was in here to do, I thought y'all was in here doing something y'all weren't supposed to do. Them some cold brothers, like they cold because it's like her brothers, her sister, and all her nephews, the whole family. And I was like, this how it's supposed to be.
Dig it. Dig
Oh,
it,
she
dig
said I
it,
put
dig it,
the
and
best
dig it.
house to stock up against the yeah. I put Detroit house up against anybody. Yeah, Kimley on point, Rachel on point. It's a couple of us out here, and I was so happy when I finally met Rachel and finally met Kimley. When I met Kimley, it was when we used to do real estate Thursdays downtown, and when I
Mhm.
love seeing like my seasoned women in this because it makes me feel like okay, I'm on the right path. Like because representation matters.
Yep.
So like I'm on the right path. All right, that's gonna be my future self. So all right, cool. So like they on point. Yeah, for real, Rachel. It was looking like they was straight on that cocaine. Hey, somebody said, "What's your thoughts of the Packer plant finally being knocked down? That land about to be worth some bread." Did you see
That's
that,
all that
Ponce?
Lower East Side. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, all that on the
Mhm.
Lower East Side over there. Yeah.
Now, my only issue with that,
Perry,
I know
Shane.
that's full of lead paint.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's gonna be environmental. That's one of that's I mean, again, I can appreciate beyond the hype. What's those environmentals talk? There have been things that I've had that I liquidated once I got hip to environmental, and it was hot. One of them was a former friggin' dry cleaner. The other one had a tank under it. It was a doggone former car garage. I can't mess with that. Now, y'all that got that
Yeah.
super long money can remediate that. I had to get the heck up out of it. It made no business sense for me to deal with that at
But
all.
that's smart because you detach your emotions and like I have to tell my women and clients this like we are emotional nurturing people beings by
Sure.
nature, us women. So like
Mhm.
women who want to get into construction and real estate, you got to really separate the two. Ain't no wrong with crying. I cry a whole lot of nights. It ain't gonna never be seen on that job site. It ain't gonna never be on the phone. You got to handle your business because you got
Yes,
to
ma'am.
come in respectful so they can respect you because we're stepping into this male dominated field. Like yes, there's more women investors and more women contractors getting into it, but we will never catch up to the rate that they're at. We just won't. And that's okay. And it's okay to be in this male field, but yeah, I'm a woman first, always, but we still have to be respectful and you gotta check your emotions at the door. Like you can be just boo-hoo crying in the car, but when you step on that site, you gotta put your big girl drawers on and handle your business. So like I try to tell women that all the time, like take your emotionals out. Don't get too attached to no house. Sometimes you're gonna lose money on your flip. Sometimes you're gonna make money. Like get in and get out. Like I had to learn that early. Like I'm a one timer. If something happened to me once, I'm not doing it again.
Yeah. So you
Or
learned
I
that lesson right
learned,
up.
oh, Ponce
Yeah,
did this and it didn't work out. I'm not doing it either.
yeah, I definitely can learn through other people's experiences on some things. Yeah,
She
had an
said she had an
opportunity to learn from
opportunity.
people and walked away. Was
That
it
could have been.
hot, Salt Marshall? Was it the environmentals was funky or what? I mean,
Yeah,
or
what
you
was
just
wrong with it?
did you walk away?
Oh, East Grand?
She was on East Grand Boulevard,
Oh, not packing that. Gotta have that Second Amendment.
all the way live.
I've been trying to pass my exam. Okay, Portia, let me tell you something. I didn't pass my test to the fifth time. So it took me 5 times to pass my builder's license because I come from heavy highway construction. I was a highway engineer for a firm that was contracted through MDOT. So I was passing all the other portions, right? But when it got to concrete, was failing with flying colors. And the reason why it didn't click into the fifth test, like, girl, they building a house, not the lodge, and then I passed.
Okay.
So my tip is just keep taking it. If you take it 100 times, never give up. I know it costs 100. Well, it costs 100 when I took it every time. Keep taking it. You're gonna eventually pass. I think they tell you what portion that you fail. At least they did when I did. They don't tell you the percentage, but they just say pass or fail. And if you did really good on the other ones, just brush over it, but really focus and study on the part that you really keep failing. And I'm sure it's something probably minor that's making you, not pass a certain portion, just like it was with me. So my advice is just don't give up, keep studying. If you got to go ghost on your friends and family for a minute, let them know what's going on and just focus because it's so worth getting your license. That license opened up so many doors for you, and then it protects you when you out here doing work. Because technically, anything over $600 in the state of Michigan, you're supposed to hire a licensed contractor. Now we
Yep.
know people don't do that, but whatever. But just
Listen,
don't give up.
that's where some of my work comes to. I'm glad you allowed me to segue. And it's the same thing every time. I'm not knocking the folks. They trust me after a while and they say, I don't think you judge them. How'd you know? I'll tell you a scenario and they'll say, how you know that? You know them? I said, no, the only thing I did was change the names. It's your scenario. Here it is. Might be a repair or fire at the house, right? You know how it
Mm-hmm.
goes. And so, they're properly insured, and they get that fat little $200,000 check, right? But they homie said, "Nah, don't let the insurance company hire you. You go ahead and pick your own contractor." That's why I had to say, no, you all are licensed residential builders in the state of Michigan. There's a distinction. And then, of course, they signed over 17,000, 25,000. I saw one the other day, $35,000. I said, now what? Can't, they don't know where they at. And so I say all that to say, just
And
do
your
it the
house
right way
still work.
up front. Hey, that's right. I said, pay up front or you're going to pay on the other end. And you want me to now try to get something from those folks. And of course, they ain't collectible on nothing. And the
You know how many
reason a
people?
lot of times they're mad at themselves because they cutting that corner. So here's my
Mm-hmm.
pitch. Licensed, we have two on here, and we've just told you about three licensed residential builders. We got two of them on here right now. Okay, even if it's for a consultation, yeah, I'm putting it out there to y'all. Y'all know how to reach Asia. Y'all know how to reach our salt marshal. Okay, and I'm not going to tell you how to do business with them. That's between you and them. But you find you a licensed, proven people that are not ducking in the dark and just hemming and hawing, and those that'll walk you through the process. And more importantly, frankly, will manage your expectations or won't do business with you. You still want to do stuff sideways because they have
Mm-hmm.
reputations and that's not going to compromise their quality. And I believe me,
Yep.
there are more folks that I've said no, thank you very much to, and I wasn't chasing shit. You hear me? I was like,
I
because you
turned
don't want
down
to
the job
maintain business the way business need to be maintained.
for sure. I turned down the contract. Well, it wasn't even a contract. So what people this is another reason why I charge. So people hire me, come do the estimate, send my detailed estimate over to the insurance company or over to the hard money lender. They get approved, but they forgot that they have to talk to me. And then when they
Right.
talk to me, I'm like, I ain't never got no money for this. I ain't never
That's
got no
right.
contract for this. So they paid me for an estimate, yes. But what they said you was the contractor. I'm not nothing until I get a signed contract and a hefty deposit. If
There
I
we
don't
go.
get one of them, actually you can send me money and I don't got no contract because that money gonna make that contract binding because you still sent me some bread.
There it is.
And
And
then
so
they
I
don't
say
get
all
it.
that to say to
Like,
those that are listening, if you on that ish, frankly, we don't want to deal with you. Right. All
yeah,
right. If you want to do things right, I don't care what you know how many times I've had a person say, I don't care about that hype you hearing. Here's how we do business here. Right. And then there are many times that I've had clients that didn't want to listen to that. And then they come back around and they want me to try to clean it up. And I'll clean it up for a
yep.
price.
Oh, I
Period.
clean up too. My cleanup, whatever I told you before, times two. Because you
Yeah.
playing with
So
me.
So I want you. So I take that and I'll back up into my proper role here. For those of you that are watching this throughout the entire world, take your business first. We're serious here. We're quality here. We're licensed here. We do real business here. We happen to talk your language. We even probably talk a little bit of your culture. But if you want to come playing, then we don't need that type of business. And I'm just
Yeah,
saying
like
that that's my philosophy of things.
no, I agree with you. Like, and the girl or I don't know if it was a girl or a guy, I don't remember that was asking about the builder's license. Um, don't be afraid to be yourself. Like everybody know I'm me. The way I am right here with y'all is the way I am with my clients, and that's why I'm who I am. And it's okay to be who you are. And I really had to accept that. Like me being who I am is really what got me where I'm at. Cause everybody know on Instagram and social media, a lot of these people be out here lying. Like they
Yeah.
be straight lying. They don't have what they have, or they don't know what they know. Like I know Detroit. Ponce know Detroit. Rachel know Detroit. Why? Because we born and raised here. Like I know my way around the city because my auntie never drove the freeway until I got to college. So it took us forever to go from the east side to the west side because we had to take all these back streets. But now I'm grateful for it because I know my way around the city front and back. That's how I
Mm-hmm.
know all the neighborhoods and stuff. Like, don't be afraid to be yourself. I curse. Okay, you gonna start cursing too because you in construction. So just get ready. Like, I didn't curse like this till I got on that highway. And when I got on that highway, you got to think I'm around all these Caucasian men. Yeah, you start picking up some habits. I mean, you can still be a lady, but sometimes I be forgetting.
And
But
again, you are. And again, for those that can learn about Miss Salt Marshall professionally, she will speak your language if that's the language you
yeah,
speak.
I
You'll
normally
understand it.
let my clients curse first most of the time, and
Mhm.
then I be like, whew, I could be myself. But then like I had this school reach out to me to be on a contractor board for their trade program. And I was like,
Yeah.
how did y'all find me? They was like, social media. I was like, so you do know. I always make sure like you do understand who I am, how I am, and I'm not changing no matter what you are for me. Now I'll compromise, but I'm not gonna, just change. And they was like, we understand. I'm like, okay, cool. I just like to make that known so they know problems in the future. But oh no, we got some more questions. Which company do you use for container homes? So 3 Square Inc. is a dope firm in I think they based in Detroit. They were the first ones to really bring containers to Detroit, and I have a direct contact with them. His name is Deshaun Wilson. He's also my business partner and my team leader because I'll be doing container homes hopefully this year, like on the building side. So I can connect you with him for that if you need to. Just shoot me an email. That's Rachel just agreeing to whatever we was talking about. She said, "Thank you. Oh, I'm trying. You gave me hope. I thought it was something wrong with me. This will be my foot. Girl, if you take it 14 times, just take it. You gonna pass?
They ain't gonna have none on your face to say that took me 14 times. You just gonna have a license.
Right.
Keep pressing. For real.
Period. Like, who cares?" All right, what other questions we got? Oh, somebody said, I noticed they're redoing the streets and updating the street lights going up Gratiot away from downtown toward Gratiot Woods. Is this a sign of change coming to the nearby neighborhoods? Absolutely. Because if you remember, Shaka Millie, if you from Detroit, y'all remember when Detroit ain't had no lights outside of downtown for a very long time. Y'all do remember this. And this wasn't that long ago. This was, around the same bankruptcy time, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we ain't had no street lights. So the first sign was street lights, and they started doing the street light. It's all a process because you got to be able to see at night, and they want stuff lit up. And then Gratiot takes you from downtown Detroit all the way. Hell, Gratiot go a long
Mount
way.
Clemens. Mount Clemens.
It go past Mount Clemens.
All the way Mount Clemens. Yeah. You could up to Fort Gratiot.
I think you could take Gratiot out to Selfridge.
That's right, all the way up past Mount Clemens. But I just used Mount Clemens as a all the way up.
Yeah, I think you could take. I think you even go past Gratiot, go far like Telegraph.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Woodward.
It's the spoke system. Woodward. Woodward.
7 Mile and Gratiot. That's trying to see what neighborhood. Ain't that the red zone?
That's M something. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
No, the street is like M3 or something because Woodward is M1.
Yeah, it is. It is M3. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, it's M3. Straight up to East Point, right through Mount Clemens. As you said, keep on heading on up. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about I think that's red zone, but red zone is about to be the junk anyway because they supposed to be putting like $5 million over there. They announced that a couple years ago.
Okay. You do make a point though when you said regarding and you kind of validated. I've said some of the same things. Once the Detroit public school systems, when the very people that come here, because think about it, you don't get a second chance with the kids. You'll come here and play with stuff and then move somewhere where you want to be. But once those very folks that show up in those type of cars and those little Volvos and those Cooper Minis, then enroll their children into the public school system.
Mm-hmm.
It's where it is.
Do y'all remember? I forgot what year it was. It was a big billboard on top of Wayne State on Woodward and Warren, and it was like, "Welcome to the new DPS." It was a white kid with a uniform on. It was an Asian kid. It was no blacks and it was no Hispanic kids. And I remember Black Detroit was furious, just like when they had that sign downtown that was painted on the building. You remember what I'm talking about? For those who don't know, so they had a sign downtown on one of the buildings that was advertising the new restaurant downtown. And it was a Black woman serving nothing but white people. It was nobody white, like in the restaurant. No, I mean, nobody Black. I think everybody was white, even the server. Once again, old Black Detroit got on the news, nothing of like, we better not be serving y'all. We better not be the help. Y'all better come take this down. Like, I love Black Detroit, especially the elders, like my mom and them generation, like the ones who been here since the riots and stuff that was teenagers then. I love them because they are not afraid to speak their mind. They'll go to them council meetings like, excuse me, Mr. Mayor, sir, you ain't doing this. You ain't doing that. I'm tired of y'all coming up in my neighborhood doing this. You better do this. Like, because we taxpayers and we won't vote for you. And I tell my church not to vote for you. That church is the Black vote.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And I was like, dang, like they was on the news, nothing up. I was busting out laughing because I actually agreed with them. But yeah, Black Detroit don't play though. You're not about to come here and think you about to do what you want to do. Cause we still one of the blackest city, but I think they said we like either 75 or 80% now, when it used to be like 85 or 90. So that say a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. She said Cass
Okay.
got more suburbanites than Detroit students. You don't have to be in Detroit to go to Cass no more. That's not just DPS. I don't
I've
know
been
this.
kind of away from that, but I do know that there is a schools of choice type thing, or again something that used to be that was always around, but you would enforce it. You literally could pay, to sort of like offset the attendance there, or any
Mm,
other school, especially when they had those. When our vote techs were banging. I mean, they understood. People understood they're going to vote with their feet. They understood what they were getting. But I'll
yeah,
take it from Saltmarsh, who probably who's a little bit more closer to what's going on currently. So yeah.
I believe it. Somebody said there was a meeting last Friday and they were faced with protesting tenants, but it's an effort by landlords to advocate for landlords. They trying to form a coalition of landlords in Detroit.
Hmm. Okay.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Nah, not at all.
That wouldn't surprise me. But if they pass that the no cap, whatever it's called for rent, it's a wrap for y'all. Y'all better buy these houses. It's OV. If I can start,
Hmm.
it could be one house on the block, rent 2,500. I don't care. I think that's wrong, but if they don't put no cap on it, it's gonna be crazy. Somebody said, Asia, I recall you saying you're not buying any more frame houses, only brick do you or mine. Uh, Buying frame houses just to get into investing, I recommend because they're gonna always be cheaper than brick, and they're gonna always rent. I personally don't like frame houses no more because they need more work. The wind blow, the
Okay.
house won't shake. You know what I'm saying? Especially them old ones. A lot of them are old wood frame houses too, like straight up wood. So you're gonna have to like wrap it because I'm afraid on these wood houses to take the wood off because I think the house gonna fall apart because that wood is what's
Hmm.
holding it up. So you're gonna
Hmm.
have to
Okay.
wrap it with the tie back and then like shore it up or whatever and then put siding on it. I'm personally not buying no houses with a crawl space. Well, I take that back. I will because they cheaper just to rent. But I personally don't like it because if something wrong, I can't just go in the basement and look up like, oh, my pipe leaking. That's just me. But as far as new construction go, it's gonna be cheaper to build new on a slab instead of digging out the basement. Because when we demo the house, unless you about to drop your house right then and there on top of it, you got to fill the hole back up. Or I think they're making you pull the basement out. I think instead of just filling the hole
Hmm.
up now.
Probably most likely with the
Hmm.
dirt. Yeah, with that dirty dirt. Yeah,
Landlords are people too. Yeah, that's true. Detroit
that's
Association really.
very
Yeah,
true.
I heard of them. They've been around forever. Somebody
Yep.
said, "How long is
Dar.
the life of a container home?" I believe it's forever because it's steel.
It's a
I
good long
think
time.
that's a long time, and I think they get more popular too, especially in like places that get hurricanes a lot. I mean, ain't nothing
Are
hundred
they
percent.
insulated well? Are they insulated well? I mean, it's my ignorance. It seems like it would be cold in there because it's so much
Um,
metal.
the one I've been in, it was straight. The one three
Okay.
square day model center, it was cool.
Okay.
I think so. If you go with spray foam, you can't go
Oh,
wrong with spray
there
foam.
you go. All
Now,
right. Thanks.
if you go with bats, you probably gonna have to probably raise your R value because the standard in Michigan, the ceiling is R30 now. It used to be R19, so it's R30 for ceilings and walls is still R13. Yeah, because the ceiling used to be R19, so now it's R30. So you can go up in R value, and that'll
Okay.
probably make your insulation better. But
Okay.
spray foam gonna always be the way to go.
Thanks.
Somebody said, "What about rust?" They seal it. They seal it so it won't rust, to my knowledge. But
Hmm.
see, that's why I want to build one because I only can answer stuff for what I personally researched. But I'm a doer, so until I do it myself, I don't want to do it for nobody else. Because I actually turned down like a $320,000 container bill. It was a duplex they was building on Dexter, like on Elmwood Court, somewhere up in
Okay.
there.
All right. Yep. Yep.
I
Yep. Yep.
turned it down because I'm like, I ain't never did this before. Like,
I hear
and
you.
I was honest with him. I was
All
like, ma'am, I don't feel comfortable taking your money knowing I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't feel that my experiment or my learning curve should be at your expense. And they respected that because they was like, wow, we've never, had that. I was like, well, I got integrity. I got to be able to sleep at night, and I got stuff to lose if you want to sue me. So I'm a pass.
Yeah.
However, wherever you do get to build it, I would love to be able to come on site and see. Cause like I've seen it done online, but I've never done it. So like once I do it, I think I'll be straight. I feel more comfortable because it don't look that hard, but I still ain't never did it.
Excuse me.
All right,
Likewise, stay in my lane. Yep,
me
all
too.
the way live.
I mind the business that pays me. Let me see what other comments we got. Y'all got any more questions for Ponce on here? Oh, Ponce, are there any new like squatter laws or anything like that or rights?
No, just really just enforce. A lot of folks. I'll allow me. In the '80s, I do remember this because again, I used to see folks do it. Squatters used to be this house is vacant. There's a quote unquote absent. We're going to use a house. It's vacant. There's an absent landlord. Somebody comes up in there, kind of cleans it up, gets some electricity going, and they do it. There's no relationship whatsoever with the owner and those persons. I don't see so much of that anymore where they then activate it, right? And so generally you still have folks right now, at least in my experience, that have a tenant relationship, meaning, either we used to have a lease or we go month to month or we're having something here. Squatters, the best way I can say there, if there is a squatter, then my recommendation when I've had some of those generally people that bought the house sight unseen, turns out, whoops, somebody's in there or trying to be in there or doing whatever pharmaceutical businesses they're doing or whatever they're doing there, then my recommendation is generally just do a straight up termination of tenancy the old fashioned way. You do the 30 days notice to quit, wait, they don't move, then file down to 36th district, and then just walk all the way through. They'll see the stuff start coming on there, and a lot of times those folks just leave, they vacate. So squatter proper, I haven't seen a lot of that activity in my practice anyways. And thus I don't see any new laws because I haven't seen a lot of activities, but there's still you govern that under the tenant rights, unless they're doing something illegal, like real illegal, like you just that, like you don't have to. I'll just leave it like that. Yeah, there's some distinctions, but yeah. Yeah.
I hear you. I'm trying to see what other questions. So, do you have like, what I think would be good content for you?
Tell me.
Filming your evictions because it ain't illegal, and then that way you got some, I don't think, I don't think it's illegal. I think that'd be a dope TV show.
Yeah.
We should do that because we don't have to we need to put it on YouTube. Like, I'm down for the foolishness.
I know, but that ain't foolishness. That's just you thinking that. I was about to say out the box. It's not even a box because you're, that's why you saw me start blushing. I'm like, there she go again, taking me outside of my comfort zone and to the edge.
I think it'd be dope though, because like that's good content. Like, okay, the TV show Cheaters. Yeah. Who would have thought of that?
Oh, I hear you. Especially like with old Norm sitting at the edge with the eternal, the perpetual beer.
Yeah. Because I know what's the dude on YouTube? He been on there for years from Detroit, the Shay Show. Mm-hmm. He's a fool. Like if y'all on YouTube, check out the Shay Show. He is crazy, and I love it because it showed Detroit, and then I like it because it showed the good and the bad, and I think that's what makes us great business people. Because I'm pro Detroit. I love this city, but I'm gonna also tell y'all the good and the bad, and then you make a sound decision. You know what I'm saying? So like they say you force. She said, "What happened? I don't know nothing wrong with him or nothing. Like I don't know if he's gonna post any new content and I subscribe. I had to go look and see." One question. Somebody said, "Any recommendations for property management?" I don't have any recommendations at the time. You can always just probably Google some. It's some in my ebook though. I just can't think of none off the top of my head. If there are squatters in the home and you purchased it from a tax sale, but there isn't a lease, do the owner have a right to enter without notice?
Hell to the no.
You got to evict them, right?
Yeah, you got to evict them. And then also, listen, I'm sure you super bad or whatever, but why would you want to do that? Why would you even want to go through it? Again, think business. This is a business decision. You bought a home, right? Or you bought a piece of property, and most likely as is where it is. And believe me, the folks you bought it from going, is that your own right? We ain't guaranteeing anything. It ain't nothing that, hey, whatever you say is what you do. and then you're going to do that and walk in on other humans. Nah, I'm good.
I don't think that's a safety. I think that's more of a safety thing. Did you see
But,
the video that went
well,
viral?
that's my point. I guess
Yeah.
I didn't make it plain. I just said think through that. No, I'm not. No, don't do that.
Because
No.
what if it was you in reverse?
No. That's a business risk that you've assumed or that you need to calculate in that time and all the things you have to do. And then you're going to use, at least here in Michigan, if you come my way or any other lawyer that's worth their salt, you're gonna follow and walk through that process. And so you can go on and keep moving and doing what you need to do.
Now, what I do recommend before you bid on the house, you got the address, do a drive, go drive back.
Yeah, there ain't wrong with that.
Or you can even pull up and talk to the people. Just be cordial, like, hey, you know, I'm thinking about buying a house. Like, what are your plans? Like, and some people, they'll stay there and sign a new lease with you, or do a land contract with you. Like, people are, you got to think like they losing their house, so you still got to be
emotional. Yeah, however you want to call that.
It's an emotional thing. You can send them letters and stuff. Now, if they don't respond another day, then you got to do the eviction process. So you're looking at least probably 4-6 months before you can get them out.
And you know, I've had a client right now. I said, let them stay there. I said, why? I said, because if they leave, the hood coming up in there.
Also true.
I said, let them stay there. That's free security, however you want to call it, security. Ain't nobody coming up in there behind them.
Yep.
If they leave, the hood coming up in there. And so we made a deliberate process. Again, each case is different, but in this particular case, I says, let them stay there. We'll work toward it. Let them stay there for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Sound like a plan to me. Trying to see what else. Oh, did you see it went viral? I seen it on TikTok, Instagram. The lady showed up at I think it was a birthday party to get the rent from the tenant or something like that. I mean, now although I feel you, but what you could have did is had them served. Now see, I'm petty. I would have did that. I would have delivered a gift to the kid with my eviction notice with the gift. I'm not personally coming there, but I would have to serve at little mama or little daddy, birthday party. But you showing up yourself, the man is trying to get in the house. I don't know what state this was in, but this could go all bad. You could, they could actually probably sue her for like maybe emotional.
A whole lot of different things.
Yeah, safety stuff. Or I don't know what laws she technically. I know she broke the law, but I don't know like the proper terms of the laws that she broke. Sure. But I'm pretty sure she might have messed herself up.
It ain't no need to be going through that. A couple of years ago, and it was a sad thing, but I understood the human factor of it. For those of you worldwide that are watching it, we have a neighborhood called North Rosedale. And that's a pretty solid neighborhood. That's a really nice homes. It's a demand place where people have lived for a while. It's a cosmopolitan place, different people that live there. And the folks lost their home. Somebody bought the home off the auction and had the nerve to walk up there. And you can imagine as they were still trying to move out, that was an emotionally charged. And of course, they just walked up piping, talking about I'm the one that own it, and folks ain't trying to hear that. Anybody can say that. Long story short, they blew that dude's head off. And it was sad all the way around. It was sad all the way around. These folks were charged. This was a house that were in the family for a while. You and I both know that's a pretty, nice place. They had lost their job. And then that's like, man, it was wrong all the way around.
They could have approached them better. They could have still walked up to them in a more respectable manner. Like, look,
it was whack.
Like you could have been like, look, I'm the new owner. I'm sorry that you have to leave.
Nuts.
Let's have a conversation. Either now or later. I'll give you up to 30 days. You ain't got to move right now. And let's have a conversation.
You better have maintain some sense of dignity.
Yeah, because I know this is not like, or something. You could have showed up with a gift, something like some food, like maybe you didn't know they was moving. You just showed up and it just happened. But it
got out of hand real quick.
Yeah, you could be respectful. Like you could be, and I bet it was a dude that probably showed up being irate. Because I think a woman would have probably been a little bit more sympathetic.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think, because at least I would, because I'd be like, hey, I'm sorry you're dealing with this. I'm the new owner. Let's have a conversation. Do you want to stay? Right. Okay. Yes, you do. What can you pay per month that you won't be so over your head?
Mm-hmm. Well, in some respects, hey, do you want to stay? And I remember when the inventory is a little different. You want to buy it back? Hey, you love this place. You're emotionally attached to it. You ain't gonna tell where you stand. You want to buy it back from me?
Do like what my did. I was like, ask them how much money they got in their pocket right now. These I got $200. All right, take that $200. Have them sign something on the paper. That's your down payment.
So anyway.
Like, so the guy who got killed, unfortunately, did the old homeowners go to jail? Like, how did that work? Because they might have got off on that, I would think.
Well, not so much got off, but if I remember correctly, it wasn't premeditated, obviously, but it was. There are some things where there's a term called like hot blood, right? I mean, you not things happen quickly, and it results in some jurisdictions with a charge of manslaughter. It could be voluntary manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter. So it depends, right? But I will say, and I don't have the case here in front of me, that yes, it was sad all the way around.
Yeah, because they already going through something emotional. A family member just got lost from that family. Another family member lost because they possibly gonna go to jail, and y'all already losing y'all house, so now there's more money. Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah. But I did that to underscore, even though we see these laws and we can recite things and waive deeds, there's still humans in this. And that's that thing, that tension we talk about that we want to balance. Whether the human being, the landlord, who's vested in that, frankly, they got to get paid, right? I mean, and 36, and there's a balance there. And then also the tenant, whether that tenant has stayed over or shouldn't be there in the first place, or whatever game is being played. A lot of times, not a lot of times. Listen, you use the current laws and processes that are in place, and those things reinforce the business decisions that you're making, not those emotional decisions in which there can be some dire consequences.
Yep. You got to take your emotions out sometime.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so we got 10 more minutes left. So if y'all got any more questions, 100% Rotten Podcast says, when you do container homes, do you put basements in? You can. You can either do a slab. I think you can do a crawl space or a basement. I recommend, just from the research I've done, a slab or a basement, because you're sitting still on top of concrete, and I don't know how a crawl space will work in the long run, especially here because we got frost laws.
That's right. Yeah.
I cried, I cussed, and then I got my plan together. I am keeping that rental house forever. Ain't nothing like the first of the month. I love the first in a couple days because it's a short month. Nothing like the first.
Hey, it's the first of the month. They should have been collecting rent, but what?
I've been posting that every day for about 3 years. I don't know what Rachel was talking about. When was this? What up, though? Off code. How you doing? Instagram. We got any more questions? That was a good one though, about the empty vacant squatter one. Like that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
Oh, what are frost laws? So state of Michigan, look, we had an ice storm Wednesday. It looked like winter wonderland. By Thursday afternoon, it was 45 degrees. So we have frost laws is that let me look up the proper term, because the way I explain it probably ain't gonna still make sense. Frost laws, Michigan. So okay. All right. So our ground get cold here, right? And then it's to prevent deterioration and stuff of the property. So I think you can't. So when we build a fence, we have to dig. I think it's minimum 36 inches. I go 48 because you're gonna pass me. And the reason why I go deeper than what the minimum code is because the ground can shift. Some dirt can fall back in, and the day your inspector come and put his little measuring tape down there is the day that you at 32. So even though you dug 36, so I go 48. So the frost laws let me see. So frost laws are during the winter months. So that's, you can really kind of say fall because it get cold in November. So I'm gonna say like November to maybe like April or May, because we have had snow Memorial Day here before. I know, crazy, right? So it's basically so your local roads and stuff won't go into deterioration, your pavement and stuff like that. Our houses have a basement, so that's dug 7 to 8 feet below. But some of these old houses have like 6 feet basement walls. Weird. But that's kind of what it is. I'm probably still explaining this wrong. But it does have to do with your seasonal load, your weight. And the load is like what carries the load across from point A to point B, like your beam load, something like that. Oh, somebody that was you, Ponce, that posted the article about Rosedale Park.
Mhm.
Oh, you got to text it
Yeah.
to me. I'm gonna make that a post.
Okay. All right.
That's crazy. So I think below freezing here is 36. I think it's 36 degrees below is considered below freezing here. Oh, they got new
A
frost
bit,
laws coming.
it's a bit dated, but I know I remembered it, and it still speaks to what we talked about. Yeah.
Yeah, that's spot on. That's messed up though.
Yeah, it was whack.
So I wonder who do that same person or entity has the house. Because if they, like you said, if they probate or trust stuff went together, then
Then most sure, yeah, most likely because that. Let me not smile at behind it. Ownership does not enter in at death. You know, you're in heaven. You're in heaven, but your business is still down here.
this is why we're friends. We have a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
I don't own any container homes yet. So when I do mine, I will be renting them out at market rent. So well, I'll do Section 8 in them because Section 8 gonna pay according to the level of renovations you've done. So the more you do, the more Section 8 pays. To my knowledge, I could be wrong, but I think that's how it goes. Do you have any training going on in Detroit to get in your field? I'm gonna do Detroit real estate weekend. I just been man, this first quarter been kicking my butt because I'm working on a firehouse from hell. I've been in this house since August. I'm tired of this house, and I'm at the point now where I'm tired of pulling up to check on it. I'm tired of putting the PO number in Home Depot and insert supplier. When I get to this point, I be on everybody's head. So it's extra protection for your property. Yeah, basically, it's certain codes that we have to follow as builders, especially in the ones who do the concrete and stuff that they have to follow. Like in the wintertime, can you pour concrete in Detroit? Yes, but it's going to cost you a lot more money because you got to keep it heated. It got to be a certain grade of concrete and all that stuff. So just wait till the spring or the summer. Do you get rental properties from short sales? You can, I would think. You just like buying a
Sure.
property, you
Yeah.
can rent it or live in it.
Transaction like any other. Yeah, like
Yeah,
any other transaction.
yeah, or flip it. Let me see. All right, so we about to cut these questions up because we got 5 minutes. Oh, so I was right, Rachel. Cool, because I was going 48. So it's 42 inches deep for footings. It's the minimum. So I stand corrected for Michigan basements and I think fences and porches and all that. I just go 4 feet because when I worked on the highway, we had to go minimum 4 feet. So I brought that to houses. Serve them to help me pie. Ha ha. My girl from Detroit, from LA. What up, though? I've never been to LA. I gotta go there. I think I might start by doing the classes out of state now since people back outside. I can't find a lot on tiny homes, but I see folks are placing them in the back of their homes. So they building a tiny house over here by me. I'm in Island View. It's like I think it's on Baldwin or Field. I noticed the other day. I was like, that's a tiny home. And, you know, these
Okay.
lots over here big as hell. So I wonder they just about to have a big stupid fence in the back or
Well,
what?
they go sit it all the way. If they set it all the way back, huh?
Well, they didn't
Maybe.
sit it back. It's
Oh,
close
okay.
up like a regular house with a front
Oh,
yard, but
okay.
the backyard gonna be stupid because the house only this big.
Okay.
It's a lot of y'all. Oh, Atlanta ain't nothing but South Detroit.
You ain't
That's
never lying.
ain't nothing but Detroit. South Detroit.
You ain't never lying.
The Michigan basement is the Suffolk one. Yep. Thank you. So let me see which season has the highest evictions. Oh, I think holidays. I'm gonna let you answer that, Ponce. What season has the highest evictions?
Okay. So the process kind of starts like this. Allow me.
Go
You get
ahead.
in there. You get in there in September when the kids start school. They
Mm-hmm.
pay 1 month, pay 2 months. Now Thanksgiving coming, right? So they don't pay that. Now Christmas came around, they ain't paying that. They trying to get taxes if they want to be right in January. And then by the time you get on spring and they ready to bounce. So that's the timeline. And guess what? It's spring for those that are pretty hip. And again, I love my people because they think through it depending on which side you're on. Because now it's warm and the kids just got out of school and they start all over again. So the
Mm-hmm.
answer, hey, the actual eviction probably setting out, as we used to call it, probably happens in the spring, but it starts, frankly, right about after Thanksgiving. Christmas is coming. You speak about Beyonce tickets, they talking about Christmas is
Look,
coming, and
let me tell you
hey,
something. After Halloween, look, after Halloween, you're gonna be late.
hey,
It's a wrap.
so
After
that's so
Halloween,
about
you're
to say,
be late.
yeah, that is something, but we all know. I mean, that's that. I just gave you the script.
Yeah, like after Halloween, your rent is gonna be late. Depending on who you are, my rent don't be late because they know after the third,
Right.
your rent is late. It's $100 late fee, and after this, I think the seventh, I think it's the minimum I can start an eviction process. So my
That
rent
thing,
don't be late.
that thing gonna get shady around November because we got
Yeah.
Thanksgiving and whoops, we got Christmas right after that, and I
Mm-hmm.
gotta shake that thing off sometime in January. File them taxes. Oh, away we go, and we got
Yeah.
that. I gotta get my boots up for Valentine's Day, and then I got a cruise right before Memorial Day. But
Yep.
the kids about to get out of school.
But see, I also
It's not all over again.
important part, Ponce, around Valentine's Day, I done got my taxes back.
That too. Dig it.
Yep. So I gotta go get me a
Sometimes they
new
do
car.
that. Yep.
So then
Oh
you go
yeah.
get them
You
a
get
new
you what?
car.
Hey, right now, right, hey,
You
right,
got
hey, right. Hey. Yeah, with 22% interest, and you're gonna get that 88 Mustang, right? Or that
respect
Dodge, because
with all that
you gotta
risk
have
on
it
it.
from February. You gotta have it from February to April when they come snatching because you ain't paid that either.
Mm-hmm. It's a process. It's a process. And but then speaking of interest rates, people complain about these mortgage rates. If they ever get to credit card interest rates, we got a problem. Because before COVID, this is what the interest rate was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What rate you say? I'm Section 8 from here on out. I can't do regular folk. Yeah, I do like Section 8 too, though. I ain't gonna lie. Only thing I like
Mhm.
about Section 8, some of these programs, they still send me a check. Why I can't get that rate deposit?
Hmm. I don't
I
know.
mean, I'm still getting it, so I mean, beggars can't be choosy. But at the same time, now I gotta go to my PO box. Gotta either deposit it on the app or go to the bank. It's too much. I just want to wake up, boom, got my rent. All right, I think that's all questions. Special paint for rust proofing. Yep. This was an awesome show. I ain't paid no attention to my. Tell them we said what up, though. We sorry. But Ponce, you got any last minute comments, concerns?
Always do it above board, straight up, real talk. Okay, we're gonna have fun with you. We're gonna be able to speak the language. We're gonna understand what's going on because we live here. And even if you live here, we understand it because we're licensed. We're governed by to protect the public. And frankly, we ain't gonna discount what we got going on. We work too hard for it. But if you want to do that janky stuff, then do janky stuff on your own. All right. But if you want to get it right the first time, this way around, where we can make business happen, then come on, let's take care of some business. But that's just the way it is. And this is a business process. It's a deliberate process. We're going to have fun with it, but we also want to educate you because we understand what's going on. And we're going to walk you through this process. And that's it. That's what I want to say. And there's still enough for everybody. There's still enough for everybody. Real talk.
Detroit is 300 some square miles. It's a whole lot of houses still left to
Still
be
enough
bought
for everybody.
and rehab. And if you don't want to do that, buy you a lot. But so for my clothing thing, I'm gonna say this: if you don't have the money to purchase a house and rehab it, buy some land. Land in Detroit starts at $100. You got that. You got some new Jordans. You got your hair done. A natural wrap in the city right now hit for at least $90 with your ends clipped and the steam treatment. You got $100. like, like for real, you got it. So lots start at $100, and it's easier to maintain a lot than it is an entire property. If it depends on how many locks it is, you can fence it off, put up some no trespassing signs. That ain't gonna cost you nothing. You can just get a 2x4, pike it, stick it in the ground, and staple the sign on there. Boom, no trespassing. Right? Keep the little grass, keep the grass cut, and keep the snow
Have somebody
shovels.
in the hood just to cut the grass. Yeah, just cut the doggone grass. Yeah.
Period. Give them
And the
something to do.
taxes on it is $20, $30, $40,
If
something
that,
like
I
that.
don't know if you need. I don't think you need
I don't even
insurance.
think it's that doggone much. I don't even think it's that much. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So start off small. If you ain't got big, you got $100. I don't care if nobody say you got $100. Because if you look in your closet, you got $100. Like you just gotta get your priorities. Ladies, you getting your nails done, mani pedi, that's at least 115 that shellac in the city. Like, come on, you got $100. So when I break stuff down like that to people, I don't think really people understand how much they really be spending on just frivolous stuff. And I'm like, you can invest, just Don't do this, don't do that. Stop eating out. Like that'll do it. So that's my like little 2 cents before the end of the show. What else? I agree with everything Ponce said. Thank you, Ponce, for coming on here as always. Thank you for your time. Thank
Yep,
you for your knowledge.
yep,
Thank you for your
yep.
smarts, all that good stuff for coming on here, dealing with my foolishness and my shenanigans, and for
I
being a
love
dope
it.
friend. I
Yeah,
definitely appreciate you for everything you do for the city and for people and for me and for my clients and all that good stuff. Um, I'm trying to see what else my cousin Marks is. I think I am gonna bring Detroit Real Estate Weekend back, but I gotta see how I'm gonna tweak it this year. I don't know if I want to keep it like VIP only or open it up to everybody else just for the classroom part. So I gotta decide on that soon because hell, it's about to be March and stuff gonna start getting booked up because that's wedding season here. So
yeah.
I gotta see. But if I do it, it's gonna be around the same time because August was perfect last year. The weather was on
Love you,
point.
Tom Marshall. Tom Marshall
Yeah.
say she love us. I love her too.
Well, love you too, girl. I ain't seen her in forever. We gotta all go to like Baker's or something. So I'll give me a turkey
Hey,
dinner.
she doing what she do. What? Busy people understand busy people. She doing what
Hey,
she do.
hey, no hard feelings, but I do want to say thank you, Rachel, for kind of coming on in a way in the comments. So appreciate it. But thank you again, Posse. I appreciate all y'all. For those who sent Cash App donations, you're awesome. The good Lord gonna bless you, and you're awesome if nobody told you today. So,
Amen.
oh,
All
and
right.
to the lady that was on here studying for the test, talking about she took it fourth time, keep doing it. You're gonna pass it. You're gonna be fine. I promise you, it's gonna all work out. You probably overstressing yourself out about something and just de-stress, and you're gonna be Gucci. So thank y'all, and have a good night.
All right.
Deuces. Thank you, Posse.
You got it. Yep.
Let me hit this end broadcast.